The AFL Pre-Season Cup, live on ABC Local Radio and on ABC Grandstand Digital. Pre-Season Cup.
And out onto Docklands come the Brisbane Lions, who shouldn't be here. It was their right to host this game, but with the Gabba taken up for cricket, the AFL wouldn't accept that the Gold Coast was a suitable venue for it. So they're on the road again. They were last week. They are for round one of the season proper. And here they are for the grand final. It's been a hodgepodge week for them. They couldn't get into the regular team hotel because of the Grand Prix. They couldn't train at the Albert ground because of the Grand Prix. So it has been an interrupted preparation with just the 4 nights between leaving Melbourne and then coming back. But the Lions haven't won this competition before, and they'll try to set that right tonight.
Just might galvanise them, Jared. When so many things go wrong, you might say, look at the lot of you.
Yep.
We're against the world here tonight.
Jared Whateley and Drew Morford to call the match for you, and with us Josh Fraser and Lindsay Gilby, who join us for season 2013 on Grandstand AFL. There's a few formalities to be observed here, so gents, we might get you to thrash it around, to walk us through what to expect, some of the players, some of the tactics, some of the intensity that might lay out before us. Give it a good thrashing over the next 10 minutes or so.
I think it's going to be a really good contest. I think once you get to a stage like this, you really, really want to win it. And I think there's a lot at stake for both teams. I think in the fact that Brisbane, it shows you on the right path if they get the result, and Carlton shows you they're coming together at the right time. So I'm looking forward to a good contest.
It'll be a great contest. I think both sides are cherry ripe leading into round one. So both would want a good hit out tonight. And you mentioned that it's funny how people sometimes disregard the pre-season competition until you get to this point. Then all of a sudden there's something at stake. I think for Carlton there's a fair bit to gain out of tonight. I think Mick's always been one to go out there and try and win the game of football. So they'd be looking to try and continue to implement the game plan that he's after. Probably settle their side a little bit. There's probably still some spots up for grabs. I'm really keen on seeing Matty Cruiser again. I'm a huge fan of Matty Cruiser. I think he could be anything. Potentially one of the top 5 players in the competition. Judd's in tonight. What can he dish up? They just look dangerous to me, Carlton. I think they're cherry ripe. Brisbane, we spoke about earlier, they're starting to build a real nucleus of players, and I'm not sure they're where they want to be yet, but I think they're heading in the right direction. We speak about Rockcliffe, Redden, Zorko, Cornelius, Karnitsas, Patbull in defence, Billy Longer in the ruck. I think they're certainly showing all the right signs that in 2 or 3 years' time they'll be a very good football side. Also,
I agree, and a guy that's really underrated when it comes to the Lions is Daniel Merritt. Last year was their second highest goal scorer with 26 goals, and then he can go down and play that key role in defence. So I think that's, I guess, when they get in a bit of strife, maybe up forward, they send him down. And I know he cleaned the Bulldogs up in a first quarter here last year. He probably kicked 3 or 4. But another one who's interests me from the Carlton side is Casbolt. He's a guy who I think debuted against the Bulldogs last year, and going into that game, Brett Montgomery, the backs coach at the time, said, got to really watch this bloke. He's got some super hands, and I tell you what, he plucked a few that night, and when he actually hurt his hands, just slapped the ball. So he's got a real good set of mitts. He's got to work on a bit of polish, maybe his goal kick and stuff like that. But they run really deep as well. Their midfield is as good as it gets in the competition. Obviously, Scotland's out tonight, but when he comes back in, he allows that run off half back and allows Gibbs to push up into the midfield. So it's going to be an intriguing match. I think out of the two teams, Brisbane have probably had the better run in against opposition and hit outs, where Carlton had a good hit out against the Crows last week over at Amy Stadium. So I think both coaches would really want a decent hit out. Okay, the result mightn't be all and end all, but I think it's about the process and how they go about it.
There's a bloke out there for Carlton tonight as well, who I reckon would be very keen to start his captaincy off on a good note, Mark Murphy. Terrific achievement for him throughout the week, and I think he'll be looking to set the standard early for the Blues, and he'll get great support from Judd, Carazzo and Simpson, and I think their leadership actually runs a bit deeper than that. Got Armfield in there, who's seems to be a quality type of person around the club. Cruiser can display leadership, and you've got Dygan and Jamison in defence. So, look, Carlton, they just seem to be primed. Mick's inherited a good list, and with the adjustments, I suppose, he's made to their style, they look very dangerous leading into the season proper.
And for the audience who's just joined us, the outs for the teams tonight for Carlton. Their best and fairest, Heath Scotland, not playing tonight. Tom Bell is also not in the squad, and Jeremy Laidler, one of 3 who miss out. And for the Brisbane Lions, their 3 missing out tonight: Ryan Lester, Jack Crisp, and also Marco Paparoni, the 18-year-old recruit from East Fremantle, not playing. Incidentally, Chris Judd is playing his first game for the season, but he'll be starting on the bench.
He's a seasoned campaigner. I don't think that would worry him too much, neither the coaching staff. I think something he'd be probably looking to get out of this is the match fitness. You can run around an oval and do all the time trials you like in the pre-season, but there's no fitness like footy fitness. So he'll be looking. He's obviously a champion of the game, one of the best that's ever lived. So I guess just the moving into the game tonight, just getting a good head out is what all he'll be after.
I guess the other question, now that we're at the pointy end of the pre-season competition, is how much is management of players and how much is hell for leather and let's try and win this thing, because there'll come a point in the game where there's going to be fatigue and there's going to be questions raised in the box, and a player like Judd, how much game time do you put into him as opposed to going out there with your best side and trying to win the game. So there's a fair bit at play tonight in the coaching box with the sports science department, and obviously on the ground you've got 2 sides that are quite willing and want to win a pre-season competition. And
they are playing the interchange cap, so it's 20 each quarter, which is going to be interesting. Everyone else this weekend gets to play the normal way of uncapped interchange rotation. So tonight, saw Mix during the week, his little presser, he
not too happy about it.
Is what it is, he called it. So obviously not too happy about it, but he's got to, I guess, live and bear it for now and get on with it.
Do you think the cap will eventually be the 80 or more?
I think if they do bring it in, it has to be more. Met yesterday, obviously you were at the meeting as well with Rowan Saws, and I just think 80 is unrealistic with the pace of the game. Last week's game, there's only 4 or 5 stoppages, actually ball ups around the ground for the whole game. So it's continuous. They throw the ball up quicker. They're wanting to move it in from full back a lot quicker. So there's not much time for rest. The only rest is when you get it on the bench, and when it comes to the 80 caps, I don't think that is enough.
In the cricket, Australia 3 for 176. They won the toss and batted for the 3rd test in a row, but this time had a great start with the openers. But Davey Warner was out for 71. Michael Clark, batting at number 3, got a first baller. He was out stumped, and then Phil Hughes made a long and, ponderous 2 before he was out. 3 for 176 Australia. Cowan going well, and with him Steve Smith.
Let me ask you about Brent Maloney, who's come to the Lions. Now, for where the Lions had improved, they were a poor clearance side. His numbers could actually turn them from poor to either middling or even good, the way he does accumulate his clearances. How valuable could he be for them?
Oh, super important, I think. And what he does is he complements Rockcliffe, Redden, Rich. He really complements those guys because they were carrying a fair burden as young players. So he comes in as an experienced player, demonstrates some good leadership. He's a great build, to have into that contest. So he's a huge pickup, and Stephen Martin as well. I think he's sort of glossed over a little bit, but he can potentially provide some real flexibility for them, either as that tall marking forward or certainly the ability to go through the middle and pinch it in the ruck. So I think they've addressed a few needs, the Lions, and but no doubt Maloney's will prove to be a super pickup.
And maybe they target him because obviously Simon Black's not going to play forever. So with his experience, obviously not playing tonight and getting towards the end of his career, has been such a super player. I think they see Maloney getting a good 4 years out of him and helping the Rich, Rockcliffe, Redden, those type of guys. And that bullocking work that he does around the stoppages, I think just will ease the pressure off those guys.
And at his age as well, he goes to Brisbane and his mindset's probably a little bit different. It's not so much about him performing well week in and week out. I'm sure that's his expectation, but he goes there with some leadership qualities and a real focus on developing some of these younger players around him. So gives him a new lease of life. Brisbane get the benefit out of it, and all of a sudden they've got a pretty prolific midfield that, as Jared touched on, hopefully can turn that clearance ledger around.
To ponder your question about Judd, is there would surely be a limit, regardless of what the circumstances of the match are, given that it is his first one, and sometimes players are a bit scratchy. And certainly don't get exposed to too much the first time around. He'd be a non-negotiable tonight, wouldn't he?
You'd think so. And unfortunately, the way the game is played, you don't necessarily have the luxury of putting a Judd into a forward pocket and giving him the rest, because there's still an enormous amount of work rate required as a forward. So you'd imagine he'll get his rest on the bench, and they're going to have to be smart about that. He himself would know how much footy he needs tonight to prepare for round one.
There's a couple of pillars that are part of the pre-season grand final. The Michael Tuck medal for the best of field, and Josh Fraser's going to vote on that. And then probably one of the best developments has been the singing of the national anthem by the Auskick kids, rather than a celebrity or someone from a local musical. And there's a couple of Auskickers who are just preparing themselves to take to the microphone. So the players have headed for the wing on the broadcast side of the ground to observe the formalities. It's Carlton and the Brisbane Lions. We're with Craig Willis.
To be performed by Adele Rose and Nathan Gunn.
Crowd of more than 20,000 in to greet that national anthem, and the players spread out to their positions. One more run through and then they'll be good to go.
Good on those kids. I thought that was fantastic.
Terrific stuff. Adam White's with us tonight down in the front row. Whitey, welcome aboard.
Thank you, guys. I was just trying to work out. There was 3 that went to the microphone, but the blonde-headed kid with the curly hair decided to sit back. I'm not sure whether he was the understudy or what was going on. Anyway, he's walking off like he is at least pretending he was part of it all. Perfect conditions down here at ground level. Around about sort of 20 degrees at the moment. Much different to the conditions we saw here last Saturday night between Brisbane and Collingwood. And the crowd, as you said, Jared, 20,000 in at the moment. I must confess, I thought they'd get double that. I thought there'd be a big turnout tonight from a Carlton point of view, but maybe they're just keeping a lid on it early on in the season. Really looking forward to seeing Mark Murphy tonight. Last year when Chris Judd missed those 4 games through suspension, we saw some of Mark Murphy's absolute best football. It's the first time he's officially captain of the football club. He's about to do the toss of the coin now, and I reckon he'll start his reign as skipper pretty well tonight, boys.
Yes, it's the 9th time the grand final's been played at Docklands. The average crowd is 43,000. This is going to be about half of that. So it probably is a little out of vogue. And Whitey's point's not a bad one. Is maybe Carlton fans are doing their bit not to overhype it by all rocking up.
Carlton hasn't got a lid, has it?
Maybe they have.
They just blow the lid off all the time, don't they? Pump themselves up.
Maybe they have. And in terms of Lions fans, there's some at the Coventry end, but you wouldn't overstate how many have turned out for us. So they'll head off to the bench. There's 3 substitutes and 3 interchanges, 20 a quarter, 80's the cap in total. What are you expecting, Josh? What's going to happen?
I think it'll be a fierce start. I think both sides will want to start well early. We'll expect a bit of aggression from Brisbane. I think they've got that nature in them, particularly some of those younger on ballers. But I think as the game wears on, I think Carlton, with a bit more experience probably across the board, will start to wear the younger Lions down, and I'd expect Carlton to finish off a little bit stronger, although I think it'll be very close.
Lindsay?
Yes, I would agree with Josh on that one. I think Carlton, for me tonight, I just think probably that little bit more polish. But I watched Brisbane obviously last week, and Daniel Rich was a really, really important player for him. The way he delivers the ball forward to midfield will be one of the keys tonight. But I think Carlton, with their midfield depth and their polish around the forward line, I think will get the job done.
What do you think, Drew?
I'm giving Brisbane a chance to win. So if pressed for an opinion, I'll say Brisbane to win.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not a sweep because I don't think that would be indicative of the chances. I've tipped Carlton, but I'm with you. I think the Lions are every chance because I'm not sure Carlton's form is all that it has been built up as during the week. We're about to find out. Players heading into their positions for the start of the pre-season grand final. Carlton and the Brisbane Lions here on Grandstand AFL, and you are with Drew Morphett.
Thank you, Jared. Eddie Betts, as he's been doing earlier in the NAB Cup series, starting on the ball in the middle four for the Blues with the yellow boots on. Cruiser in ruck against Billy Longer. Both came from the Northern Knights. Billy just 5 games under his belt. And here we go at the start of the game. Perfect bounce to get us underway. Cruiser wins, but at ground level the Lions have it. Little hand pass comes out, and the Lions up towards the front edge of the square. Good defensive mark is taken back there for the Blues by Dygan, and they're often running through the middle of the ground. Yaron receives a hand pass. Beautiful pass to half forward. Man sandwich comes to the front. Grabbed by Gibbs. Gets the hand pass back to Robinson, who kicks the Blues inside the 50. There was a chance for a mark, but the ball carries on. There's just too much height there for White, who couldn't mark, and it's out of bounds in the forward pocket for the Blues, who are the first into attack. They're going to the locket end in the first quarter, right to left on your radio dial.
In the left forward pocket, it's thrown in. Cruiser took front position. He tapped it down. It wasn't gathered neatly at ground level. Carazzo went through. Murphy worked it out with the backwards hand pass to Simpson. Gets it to the right boot and kicks to full forward. A bit of wrestling going on. No mark taken at ground level. Robinson's trying to barge his way through. He's taken head high against Adcock, the Lions co-captain. And Mitch Robinson will come up with the opening shot at goal.
There's that no man's land, I like to call it. You go either into tackle or he just stuck his head down, and I don't think there was all that much contact. He just probably played for it a little bit, but I guess technically it was there.
Mitch Robinson is a slight angle, but he is barely 20 metres from goal. Looking for the Blues to start with a major, and they do through Robinson. It's come after a minute and a half of play.
Well, it's a good start by the Blues. Quick kick inside 50 and a contest by Casbolt forward to deck, and Robinson, you know what you're going to get with him. He's always going to put his head over it, and thus the interpretations now, he'll draw more free kicks than not. As Lindsay said, probably not a lot in it, but under the new interpretations, that's a free kick. He goes back and kicks the Blues first, so a good start for them.
9 possessions to 2. So it's quite appropriate that the Blues get the first goal of the game. Back at the bounce in the middle. And once again, it's Longer against Cruiser. It favours Cruiser, and he wins the tap beautifully down to Eddie, who kicks towards centre half forward. Robinson streaming up the ground, chest mark inside the centre square. Long ball down towards the goal square. Casbolt charges at it, can't take the mark. Ball alive. Hand pass comes in. Murphy at his feet. Taken away by Patfull for Brisbane. Gee, good forward pressure by the Blues, and it was Cruiser who smothered a hand pass, and the ball goes out of bounds on the 50. Carlton still in attack.
That's vintage of a Malthouse team. Thrown in. You give it to Longer from behind, but Cruiser's going to do his own roving. He coughed it up though. His hand pass was a poor one. Carnice's trying to get through and he took far too long. He tried to fend off. He never broke clear. He's been penalised holding the ball. So the Blues win it back at right half forwards. Cruiser, watch the short options dry up, and he's going to have to lob it to the hot spot. 20 out from goal. Longer has filled the hole. It never quite reached him. Betts is at ground level. He took possession. He was brought down in a firm tackle by Carnices, and it will be bounced 25 out from the Carlton goal.
All the game being played on the Blues forward line. Crowd up to 22,000. They've spilled out of the bars and come to the footy. Cruiser wins the hit. He follows up and gets it again. Close to the boundary line. Runs out of room. And the ball is taken over the line by Brock McLean. And a throw in the forward pocket about 20 metres around from the behind post. Carlton the goal. Lions yet to score. Ball comes spinning in. Cruiser has had a great start to the game, but he loses out on this occasion. And it's cleared out of defence by Carnices for Brisbane. Up to the centre of the ground. Carlton have it again. Hurried kick by Simpson up towards the 50. Good at his feet was Cruiser. He gathers. Back to Gibbs. A low zooming pass to the pocket. Casbolt on the lead. gets there on the half volley, runs out of room, it's out of bounds. Carlton claiming it was kicked out of bounds on the full by a Brisbane player, but it will be a throw-in. Carlton a goal, Brisbane yet to score after 4.5 minutes.
Blues are in the white away strip tonight. At the throw-in, Cruiser worked to the front, but Longer got the tap. He's knocked it straight down to Murphy, who evaded the first tackle. Gibbs fumbled the hand pass. Canitsis is in everything in defence at the moment, but he's not clean. Murphy wins it back for the Blues, off to Simpson. Lobs it inside the 50. Martin went with the flight. He did well. He didn't mark, but he has it at the drop. And he kicks the Lions away from the danger area for the time being. Polkinghorn's in front. He'll win it at ground level. He ran into a firm tackle with the elbow up. He got away with it. He hand passed it away. And it runs out of play. Adam White.
Jared, you would have noticed there with Polkinghorn playing as a forward. He's usually their midfield tagger. He's playing on Chris Yarran. Shows the respect they have for Chris Yarran as Chris Judd comes on for the first time tonight.
Replacing Murphy, the current captain. On comes the former captain. Blues have it at centre wing. Hand pass comes into Hanson. Further hand pass away, where it's taken by Lucas. He kicks to centre half forward. Oh, well done. A terrific mark by Golby, who had one arm pinned, but he still took the mark. Works the ball up the ground, and now at half forward, and a chance for Green. He kicks the Lions further ahead than they've been so far in the game, but chopped off for the Blues by Lucas, who comes across the ground, concedes a little bit of ground, and now they're out of defence, the Blues, but a poor old kick. Chance for Hanley, who went up with one hand, not enough. Spills down, ball taken by McLean. Back he goes, and the kick up towards centre wing. Chance for the Lions, but they've lost it. Might get it back. Longer gets after it. Gets a good bounce and gathers on the logo. The hand pass in. Well done to Maloney. He kicks long towards full forward. This ball comes from behind, and Carlton with numbers are going to be able to get out of it.
Lucas shoots the hand pass backward. Jamison, dicey kick on the way out. Will pitch just inside the field of play and then skid out. It was never for McLean to gather. It was just with a Hanley could have intercepted.
We just saw the instance there with Mitch Robertson didn't go hard at the ball there because he was worried about hitting him in below the knees.
Hampson at half back won the tap underfoot, but Hanley's going to come up with it for the Lions. He's 60 out from goal. Clever hand pass inboard. Rich onto the right boot. He takes a shot at goal. He dragged it near side. So after 6 3/4 minutes, it's Carlton a goal and the Lions are behind.
Blues have brought it in quickly. Gibbs takes the mark and kicks a mighty kick out to centre wing. Here's Judd. With him is Patfull. Judd can't take clean possession. Works it towards the boundary line. Now tries to keep it alive. It's just flopped over the white line and it's a throw-in. Can't give you a possession for that, Juddy. But right on his tail was Joel Patfull, the best and fairest last year for the Brisbane Lions. Throw-in on the City wing. Hampson in front. Wins. But his opponent, Longer, gets the ball and his left foot kick is into the crowd by about 8 rows and he's given away the free kick.
35 disposal to 14 Carlton's way, so they have controlled it but don't have anything to show for it that's meaningful yet. Lucas marked the kick in and he hammers it down the line with a long kick out in front of Casbolt. It's an easy spoil for Merritt, who punches it out of play.
Already seen Carlton's willingness to want to take it wide. Very rarely are they looking inboard to break that sort of zone up. They're still looking to hug the boundary line, and Brisbane holding him up a little bit now. They're starting to wrestle some ascendancy back.
Right half forward, the throw-in. Longer and Hampson. Hampson knocked it straight down to Maloney, so the Lions get a cheap clearance. Kick up to Brown. It was the half volley. He handled it expertly. He's released Polkinghorn. 2 bounces to half forward. It's wide open up ahead. Green in the square against Yarran, and Green takes the mark.
What a kick that was. Just put it to his face. He actually didn't lead. He just put his hand out there. Great kick by, can't remember who that was coming in, but it was a fantastic kick to advantage, and that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be flat out to a lead every single time. Just put it to space and easy mark for Green.
So it's a soda for the 20-year-old Josh Green. That's the Lions first, and with it they claim the lead. After being dominated early, they steady up neatly. 1-1-7, Carlton a go.
They just settled a little bit. Brisbane, they were probably jumping out of their skin early days and couldn't get their hands on the footy enough, but they've controlled a bit of the ball. Longer started well for them. We'll see Martin's gone into the ruck now to give him some relief because Hampson and Cruiser have already made a change, so Longer needs to get his rest when he can. But yeah, great start, as you mentioned, wins a terrific kick inside 50, and that's how we're seeing more and more goals scored now. The fast break from the stoppage and a kick into space to a favoured side, and Green was very good in that one-on-one marking contest.
Steph Martin, the former Demon, Now in ruck for the Lions to go up against Cruiser. Judd on the ball for the Blues. Cruiser hands to the ball again magnificently, but it comes from Maloney of Brisbane, who gets it on the right boot, kicks to centre half forward. Good ball from behind by Bootsma. It's on the 50 defensively for Carlton. Yaron, a hand pass out to Murphy. Blind hand pass by him. Handley has a chance. Yaron mops up. Back to Simpson. Now back to Dygan. Further hand pass. Bootsma standing start from half-back flank. Over centre wing to a one-on-one contest. A juggle. There's no mark. And the ball's seen over the boundary line by Patfull. And we get a throw in. On the dockside wing. Brisbane lead by a point. 1-1 to Carlton. 1 goal, and we've been playing 10 minutes.
On its way back into play. Cruiser playing from behind. Martin got the tap to the front. He almost had the ball. Cruiser tries. Walker had a crack as well, but it comes the Lions' way, and Patfull's able to wedge his kick forward. It bounces at half forward. Cornelius came out and he was buried into the turf by Bootsma. It's a free kick for in the back. 2 kicks out from goal. Aaron Cornelius sets it up in the Brown direction. He comes thundering out, and he should have marked it. It spills from his grasp. Lucas got caught, dropped the ball cold, and is going to be penalised holding the ball. And that is the first meaningful involvement of Dane Zorko.
Just his presence there, Brown, to come at the ball, even though he didn't mark it, made a contest, and a really good tackle by Zorko.
Last couple of stoppages as well. Brisbane are getting on top of that area and giving their forwards a chance.
Zorko was the breakout player of last year, and he opens beautifully here with a right foot drop punt which goes 50 metres straight through the middle. The Lions build on their advantage. 2-1-13. Carlton 1 straight. We've gone 11 minutes of the opening term.
You're right, Wins. Brownie's still such a presence. He's still got that aura about him inside 50. But just going back to the stoppages, Brisbane have just been a little bit cleaner in their takeaways, and it's giving him a chance going forward. There was a forward 50 tackle there, which resulted in a shot on goal. But they've just been a little bit cleaner and been able to get the ball on the outer and put someone in time and space a bit better.
T in the test match, Australia 3 for 180, Ed Cowan 76 not out, and Steve Smith 19 not out. 3 for 180. Bit better than they've gone in the first 2 tests. Here's the bounce. Cruiser is absolutely killing him on the ball. And this one comes down. Redden gets a kick for Brisbane, which comes across the ground. Chance here for the Blues. Armfield in after it. Has a fumble, loses it to Green, hand pass to Rich, beautiful off the left boot, and he kicks to Martin in midfield. Steph Martin puts the ball out into open space. Zorko runs onto it and takes the mark down towards the front edge of the square. Beautiful pass. McGrath marks on the lead. Zorko, they've been hiding him away for years on the Gold Coast.
That's the advantage of bringing the ball back through the middle. A lot of teams, I guess, go around the boundary line these days, but he's just one kick, taking it off the line. It gives him his shot at goal.
Ash McGrath right in front for the Lions. Man on the mark about 35 metres from goal. Kick into the Coventry end. Drop punt is a bit right. How do you miss that? Gilt-edged opportunity squandered. Blues 1 goal. Brisbane after a slow start. 2 goals 2, leading by 8 points.
Jamison on the kick in. He goes with the torpedo. He roosted it all the way near the middle of the ground. They fly. It's punched back the Lions' way, and it rolls inside the 50. McGrath, quick hands to Redden, has to get it off. He does. Rich onto the left boot. It's a cannon shot. It's a goal.
There's the value in having a midfielder who's got a great leg like that, but he's not just a good midfielder, he's a midfield goal kicker. So those guys are worth their weight in gold.
The Lions with their third, 3-2-20, leading Carlton 1 straight, 13 minutes into the opening term. Josh Fraser and Lindsay Gilbert.
Brisbane have got great shape around the footy as well. They've always got their couple of players hunting the ball, but they've got a fair share of players on the outer as well, and we spoke about it before with the stoppages, but when the ball hits the deck, they've got their 2 or 3 players hunting the ball, and then they've got their outer ring who are setting up for a shot on goal there. Blokes like Richard can use it so well. So, they're very impressive so far, Brisbane.
Gee, the Lions players ran from everywhere. That was a bullet of a kick by Daniel Rich. Fantastic. 20 plays 6. Brisbane in front. Hampson wins the hit out for Carlton. They're winning on the ball, but what happens at ground level? Hampson crunches through. They're competing hard like it's a grand final and there's a trophy up for grabs. The umpire circles and said, holding the ball, and the free kick is Brisbane's, and it goes against Mark Murphy. Free kick taken by Yo. Goes across the ground. Finds Hanley, the Irishman, who might play a bit more midfield this year. Fantastic kick, and this is no exception. Forward to the wing. Patfull takes the mark. City side of the ground. Patfull's kick to Brown. He's outnumbered 2-1, and between them they punch the ball away, and it's gone all the way to the boundary line. The main fist there, Michael Jamieson, the ball out of play. Brisbane 3-2-20, lead Carlton a goal, and we've been playing 14 and a half minutes.
At the throw-in, Hampson took front position, knocked it down for the Blues. Tui had a fumble, Longer gets it for the Lions, gives it off to Green. Quick kick inside the 50, bounces up over McGrath. A little fumble by Jamieson, gave Brown half a look. He ran straight into Jamieson, and together they collapsed to the turf. 30 out from the Brisbane goal. So pushing to further the advantage here. Lions have picked 3-2 unanswered. From the stoppage, the ball pins around. Carrazzo's able to settle it to the side of the pack with a hand pass to Gibbs. High ball around the wing. Merritt up over the top of Casbolt to put the spoil on and see it out of play.
Hey, Whitey, how are they doing the interchanges? Is somebody on an abacus down there?
Yeah, there's actually, it's like me when I get my shopping list from my wife. They're just ticking them off one by one. Literally, I'm on the Brisbane bench. That's how they're doing it.
9 each, Whitey.
Maloney from the stoppage at centre wing. Maloney kicks the Lions up towards half forward, and the ball's close to the boundary line and now out, and we get a throw in. Ruckman get there. Hampson and Longer. Hampson works him off it. Longer's been killed in the ruck so far, but this is going to be a stoppage, and the ball will be thrown up all around the ground. Stoppages, but there's a few around this one. Hampson gets a second go at it. Bunted up the ground by Robinson for the Blues towards centre wing. Walker overruns and then accidentally soccers the ball away from himself and goes out of bounds. On the wing, City side of the ground. The crowd's building up all the time. We're close to 24,000. Might be a decent crowd after all.
Lions by 14 at the throw-in. Hampson in front. Double palmed it down, but straight to Maloney. I'm not sure he's made any effort to get rid of that. He'll be knocked off, I reckon. Holding the ball. He's happy just to hatch it. Now Walker's grabbed the footy and taken off, but the umpire said it'll need to come back. Armfield with the free kick. He looks back and to the side. Brings it more centrally for Jamieson. He races up the wing and loads it up toward the 50. There's plenty of lines around it. Hanley gets it at the drop and he shoots it off to Adcock. Sharp pass to Maloney. Gives it back to Adcock. Up to Brown, who again has the touch of the fumbles, feeds it off. Adcock gets a third go, but this one is smothered by Simpson, who got involved. And the Blues come out hard. Robinson gives it to Judd. Judd just balked, turn back. Robinson again onto the right boot. It's still open up forward. Walker's got a one-on-one. He's playing from the back. He threw himself at it, but he wasn't able to bring it in. And Maguire will be happy to see it out over the boundary.
Judd, who started on the pine, has gone back there. Blues in attack with this boundary throw-in, 45 metres from goal. Hampson in front, works it down to Carnesis though of Brisbane, and his kick over half-back flank, marking contest, no mark taken. Hand pass comes to Rockcliffe, his hand pass to McGrath, who runs out of room and pretty much runs the ball over the boundary line, a throw-in. 20 plays 6. Carlton got the first goal, but since then it's been all Brisbane. Here's their throw-in. Cruiser in front. Knocked down to the wing. Armfield does well to work it to Murphy. Now to Cruiser. Hand pass back to a standing start. Tui up towards the 50. All Brisbane. And Hanley takes the mark. One Irishman to the other.
Short passes to Adcock at the defensive 50. Go to full-back for Maguire as they look for the way out on the far side. Merritt has made the space, but Maguire's wasted it with a very wide kick. Merritt traps it virtually on the boundary. Comes inboard, has a bounce, runs into a dead end, feeds the hand pass up over the top. Buick's got to get them out of trouble with a long kick, and he did it well. Sorko marks and he spins inboard to play on. His kick is for Green again against Yarran. It clears them. Green's going to race back at this. He won't quite get there as Tui makes the coverage, coming on a 90-degree angle and takes it through for a rush behind. It's the Lions by 15.
Gee, Zorko's making it tough for Digan out there on the flank. Kicking is magnificent. Out in front of Yarran, who runs onto the ball. And they're at half forward already with Yarran's kick. Walker up, but he couldn't take the mark. Comes down to Patford. His little hand pass to Hanley, who kicks down the line, and Carnesis takes the mark just behind the wing. Pops it over the top to Green, who's had a good pre-season, going really well. Draws a man. Hand pass over the top to Maloney. Kick to full forward. Brownie this time. Makes a contest of it. Whistle, pushing the back, and it's going to be a Carlton free kick. Taken by Tui. Comes out to Murphy. Further short pass out towards the boundary line. Simpson. His left footer down the line. Short of half forward. Pack gathers. No mark. Well, they lost sight of it. Hanley didn't. Little hand pass to Maguire.
He'll kick the Lions back to half forward. McGrath was out of position. Tui went up, made a spoil. It was paid as a push against McGrath, so the Blues will come out. Murphy with the advantage. Had a bounce which didn't come back and then overshot the target and delivered it straight for Merritt. Merritt goes sideways to Yo. He's at the defensive 50 for the Lions. Their lead is 15 points. He plays the outer wing. High ball. Big rise there by Redden. Not able to get his hands to it. Against the boundary, McLean gathers, but it's smothered by Zorko, who suddenly is in everything. And it's over the line to be thrown in.
Merritt's been really good. You can just see he's valuable when he always gets a fist in there every single time. He's so strong as well.
Zorko, a terrific smother there. He's laid a tackle. He's kicked a goal. He's doing everything. This ball comes to Betts. Kicked 4 last week. Loses control of it this time. Here come the Lions. Rich, the hand pass back to Hanley, getting plenty of it. Sweeps a beautiful hand pass up to Steph Martin. Back to Rich, who kept on going. Long kick to Brown. Jono this time. Juggles and marks.
They want to harp on it again, but there's a midfielder who can kick the ball. They're just valuable. Get in the hands of guys like Rich. Pierce Hanley has just brought his own footy tonight. He's been brilliant. I don't think there's been an Irishman in a long time that's adapted to the game as well as what he has. He's actually their go-to player off half-back, and that's a great credit to him from where he's come from.
Absolutely. One of the best field kicks in the competition. He has had 7 possessions. Hanley. Now Jonathan Brown. No distance. Angle about 45 degrees. The Coventry end. They've kicked 4 unanswered goals, the Lions, and they're down here to win. They're 4-3 to 1 goal.
I think their touch is just a bit better than Brisbane's early. I think Carlton started well the first few minutes. Brisbane were a little bit shaky, but they've settled really well, just by smart use of the ball as well. Carlton have gone around the boundary line a bit. Brisbane have been really good off half-back and intercepting the ball and getting it deep into their forward line. Get it to a guy like Jonathan Brown and ends up being a goal.
Well, what a Carlton's forward entries have been around the 40 to 50 metre mark. They're not getting those deep penetrations, and Brisbane they're getting clean footy through the midfield and the ability to carry it and then kick it longer to that sort of 20 metre hot spot. They look a lot more dangerous going forward.
Come on, you Fitzroy fans. Get on the tram, get down here. This could be a big night for you.
It's the Lions by 21 points. Cruiser wins the tap in the middle, but Rich is onto it to Shark, and he gives it off to Hanley. High ball up to half forward. They set themselves to contest all the Blues. They spoiled each other. It fell the way of Polkinghorne, and he swings it through for a goal. From 40 out, he bounced in the square and saw it run home. The Lions are 27-point leaders. Carlton kicked the first goal 90 seconds into the match. We are now at the 23-minute mark, and the Lions have kicked the next 5 goals free.
They've been great out of the middle, Brisbane. Cruz is doing his job in the middle. They're getting his hand on it, but when the ball hits the deck, you've got Rockcliffe, you've got Rich and Maloney. They're just hunting the footy, and they're getting it going forward, and that's just a terrific finish from Polkinghorne. It's shaping up to be Brisbane's night when you start kicking goals like that.
Incredible goal, that. 33-6. Cruiser getting hand to most of the balls in the ruck. Nothing happens from there. Beats Martin, but it comes to Rockcliffe. Adcock dives in for it and is taken high. He went in head first and, gets the free kick. Kick by Adcock, half-distance ball, and here's Zorko. Well, he's got himself fit, and he's an AFL player, bona fide AFL player. Kicks the ball backwards to Merritt. He's at centre half back now for the Lions. And they can set up again with an unmarked man out on the wing. That's beautiful. Yo takes the mark. Squares it into Maguire. Maguire advances the ball again and camped underneath it, Golby. But what a mark that was by Robinson came in the same direction as the ball. No right to mark it, but he did mark it.
Kamikaze stuff. He gets it off to Carazzo. High inside the 50. The Blues need a mark or a crumb. They'll get a crumb. Betts gathers against the boundary. He swings at a goal, and that's what Eddie Betts does best.
Had his name written all over it, didn't he? He was tell was always going to go through. He's probably better off having shots from there than 30 out straight in front. But a great finish. There was no fuss to it. They just got it in, got a contest, and Betts does what he does best, and obviously finishes with a goal.
Had a couple of steps against the boundary to measure it all up, and expertly bounced it home. So the Blues, with the one against the flow, they're 2 straight. The Lions 5-3-33, without to hit the 25-minute mark.
Oh, he could have lobbed that into a rubbish bin from 35 metres. That was phenomenal. 33-12. A really good standard in the pre-season final. Cruiser up against Stephen Martin. Cruiser with his hand to it again, but it's sharked by Rich. Rich's hand pass back to Patfull. Here come the Lions again with a raking kick towards the 50. Oh, the mark not quite taken down there by Longer, having a rest in the forward pocket. Taken away by Bootsma for the Blues. Kicks over half back, and here's Handy, the Irishman, who takes the mark. Bang towards the forward pocket. He's given it too much, and it's out of bounds on the full.
Always happens when you sing their praises. They always let you down.
Simpson will be there to take the free kick. Could you sense that, Lindsay, when you wound up totally miskicking? You know, one of the commentators just said how good I was, good at play.
It's happened before.
So Simpson from deep in defence for the Blues. Long kick on the way. Cruiser with the run at it. He had plenty to compete against, including Martin, who made a good contest. Yo got it at the crumb. Hand passed off to Merritts. He'll bomb it up 20 out from goal. They all fly. There were half a dozen in the pack. It came the Blues' way, and the kick on the way out was okay from White. He found Cruiser clear of the defensive 50. Robinson wanted 30 metres of field. Didn't go there. So a longer kick for Hansen, who was just pushed underneath that. And Maguire quite rightly penalised. Merritt's kicked it sideways. It's going to cost him 50. So the Blues can take 9 out of this, because Sean Hampson will be moved to about, he can take the choice. He can either set it 50 from goal and have a bang at 9, or take the full advantage and try to trim it by 6.
Tried to play a bit dumb there, old Merritt, didn't he? Didn't quite work, didn't fool the umpires all over it.
What do you take, Wins, the 6 or the 9?
Well, he's decided to hand pass it away, and Gibbs goes for the 9, and that will do the job. So Hampson didn't fancy himself from long range, but the quick play on outside the arc, and the Blues take a big slice out of the deficit. It's 1 super goal, 2 straight, 21 Carlton to the Brisbane Lions, 5-3-33.
It's Bryce Gibbs' birthday today. He's 24 years old today. That was a birthday present. They didn't need to wrap.
Just went on to it, were they, the Lions? Just such a quality player and a good finisher of the ball. Actually very smart by Hansen. And just
say, who says ruckmen aren't smart? Yeah, that was well set up by Sean Hampson then. I reckon he knew what he was doing all along.
1 in 10 decisions, ain't too bad, mate.
Well, the Blues have kicked the last couple of goals, but one was a super goal, so they've chopped into this deficit and trailed by just 2 straight kicks. Maloney for Brisbane out of the middle. He'll be a terrific midfielder for them this year by the looks. Oh, a chance for Martin, but he couldn't take the mark. The crumbs come down Carlton's way. Henderson clears towards the boundary over on the City side. It's still alive for the Blues and now bounces out, and we're going to get a throw in. Adam White.
Drew, we saw this last week from Brisbane. Just having those 3 tall forwards is making them a lot less predictable, Lindsay. We saw it last week.
Yes, they had obviously Buick as well. You could throw him in. He kicked 3 goals last week. They were really, really valuable contributors, and they're just getting it in there, the Lions, on this occasion.
Judd fumbled from the stoppage. The Lions were able to winkle it away. Rockcliffe gave it to Zorko. He kicked out into the pocket, but the spoil was put on Brown, and it's out of play.
I'm not sure what the clearance numbers are, but Brisbane are well on top there. Carlton forced to do a lot of their work from backwards to centre, and it's making it hard for their forwards as well, who are rolling up a lot.
It's 18-8 in the clearances, so it's a belting. Zorko can't keep it in the field of play after the tap from Martin, and they'll still get this chance about 15 out from goal, the Lions.
Judd hasn't had a kick yet, just 2 handballs.
Deep in the opening term. At the throw-in, Cruiser gets the tap this time down to the front. Dygan's dispossessed, but it should fall the way of Murphy. McLean almost got in his way, but Murphy was up to it. Gave it to Robinson, now to Lucas, changing direction, off to Yaron, over the top to Armfield, one more and they're through. It goes to Gibbs, he'll put it onto the right boot, kick it to an open forward line. Walker's his hope, is in front. Merritt made the spoil. Adcock can tidy up for the Lions. It's dinked into the pocket by Maguire, and they should be able to get out. Rich has got a bit of time to, Golby's got some time to work with.
Up short of centre wing. Cornelius can't take the mark under pressure. Simpson rides a bump, gets the hand pass away. Hand pass comes to Armfield, who goes long to the goal square, but not long enough. And taking the defensive mark is Merritt. Merritt goes short across the face of goal. And Zorko covering all the ground. No, it's Hanley, who's deep in the back pocket and takes the mark. Further afield. And Golby's kicked too close to the boundary line. Diving in Maloney. Can't keep the ball alive. We're going to get a boundary throw in just outside the 50. Approaching quarter time. Nearly 30 minutes gone. And Brisbane 33 lead Carlton 21. At the boundary throw in. Cruiser works it down. Judd, well, he's playing his first game. Just hasn't got the pace of it yet. Rockcliffe gathers. Hand pass over the top. Close to the line. Bunted forward by Maloney. He regathers the ball. Well played. Gets the hand pass in. Terrific stuff to Buick. And the pass to the 50. Martin under pressure. Couldn't take the mark. And comes Carlton's way to Yaron.
Yaron dancing against the boundary. His kick's not great. And Martin made great ground to steal it back. Hand pass to Rockcliffe. He might have a crack at 9. He sets it to the square instead. Cornelius couldn't get his hands to it in a one-on-one duel. And White did well to punch it away. Out of play. Adam White.
Mick Moldhouse is wearing a different polo shirt this year. He's been away for 12 months, but he looks exactly the same on the boundary, stalking the line.
Deep forward for the Lions. Martin down. White got it for the Blues though. Hand pass to Robinson. Kick was indiscriminate. Judd was clean. Great gather and he gives it off to Simpson out of half-back. Kick up the wing. Hampson was being held the whole way. Now there's nobody up ahead of him, so there'll have to be a little delay here. McLean's trying to hare forward. Betts, Walker as well. Slipped the hand pass to Simpson. He goes in the Walker direction. Couldn't quite get a sit. That's a good interception by Adcock drifting in from the side.
Enjoyable game of footy in the final of the night competition. The kick by Adcock. Plenty of height about it. Only to half-back. Longer can't take the mark. Armfield dives in for the Blues, keeps the ball alive just inside the line, and now his hand pass is blocked by Maguire and back out of play. In between wing and half forward for the Blues, who need to score before the siren. There can't be much time left. 31 and a half minutes played. Here's the throw in. Cruz has been tireless in the ruck. There is the siren. Sensational. An 12-point lead to Brisbane, who are 5-3-33 to Carlton. 1 super goal, 2 goals, 21 points. For Brisbane, the goal kickers were Green, Rich, Zorko, Brown, Polkinghorn. Correct. And for the Blues, a super goal to Gibbs and other goals to Robinson and Betts. A 12-point lead to the Lions at quarter time. 5-3-33 to 1 super goal, 2 goals, 21.
This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Grandstand Digital. Terrific opening. It's the Lions by 12 points over the Blues. Josh Fraser and Lindsay Gilbey.
It's been a great start by the Lions. A bit shaky early, but then they got on top of things. What really impressed me the most is their simplicity in actually moving the ball forward. There's no thrills about it. They just get a centre clearance. What they've been really doing well is actually Caruso has been really dominant in the ruck and actually been reading his taps and sharking off him and just getting the ball in. It's not so much about hitting the lead-ups, getting in. Nothing fancy about it. Getting a contest. Crummers have been around and seen Green score a goal as well, just by creating a contest.
Yeah, you're right. Cruz has been terrific in the middle, getting his hands on the ball, but it's been Rich, Rockcliffe, Maloney in the middle. Their clearance work's been outstanding, and what I think they're actually doing is using the ball far better in general play, and then when they're getting it forward, they're not so reluctant about hitting a target. They're happy to get it deep for a contest, but they are still able to pinpoint targets inside 50. They're spreading Carlton as well, so when there's a free kick play, they're actually spreading them the width of the ground and forcing Carlton to defend a little bit wider than what they probably like, which actually opens up some holes in Brisbane's foot skills and decision making. Again, in general play has been far more superior than Carlton's. I just question at times Carlton's decisions going forward. A number of times they've had the ball on centre wing and just ball to centre wing, and they've elected to kick to a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1. A lot of the time, because their forwards are working so high up the ground that they can't get back. Probably an opportunity just to slow the game down a little bit, use your foot skills through the centre of the ground, maybe change the angles up, switch the play, just allow your forwards to get back inside 50. And if you can't hit a target, then the opportunity is there to kick long to a hot spot.
Yeah, you're right. I think the real key important is lowering your eyes through the midfield. If you're kicking deep from the wing, especially deep out on the wings, not so much near the centre of the ground, you're only going to get it to centre half forward at best. And especially if you turn the ball over there, you can almost count it down. It's going to go down the other end, at least for a score, if not a goal. So I think the important thing is, and what Brisbane have done really well, which you touched on, is lowered their eyes. I think they've been a lot smarter, like you said, with their ball movement through the midfield. But I think, I reckon it early also shows you, I think Brisbane's previous hit-outs before this one are just, they're a bit crisper around the ball. They're a bit cleaner, where Carlton aren't as clean. They got back into it towards the end of the quarter there. But I think Brisbane's cleanliness around the ball and going forward has been an advantage.
Well, the clearances are clear advantage to Brisbane, 19-10 in the clearances, and as a result, the inside 50s also favour the Lions, 19-11. They are playing a kicking game, whereas the Blues are playing a hand-passing game. The Lions 63 kicks, 33 hand passes, so 30 more kicks, and Carlton 42 kicks, 46 hand passes, so 4 less kicks than hand passes.
Yeah, and Cruisers, we spoke about him a little bit in that first quarter. He's had 14 hit-outs, so he's dominating his work in the air, but he's not in sync with his on-balls at the moment. Brisbane are taking it away far too easy, so I'd imagine that's something Mick would address at quarter time.
Leading possession winner Cade Simpson with 11, Murphy with 9, Robinson 8 for the Lions, Hanley 10, Maloney 9 and 7 for Rich.
Any thoughts from downstairs, Whiting?
No, just you were saying before about the amount of footy that Carlton's been handballing. I think the pressure from the Brisbane midfield has been sensational. You can really detect that at ground level, closing down Carlton's space.
The Lions by 12 into the second term. They'll kick to the Lockett ends. To the left as we look at it from the broadcast position. Longer goes up. He gets his hand to it first. Andy grapples on for it. Zorko gets involved. He's down in a two-man tackle. And we're stuck in the bullseye. We'll give you scores of all sorts at half-time. There's various cricket matches, and there's League and Union and A-League on tonight. Out of the middle, a soccer off the ground goes the Lions' way. Brown gets hold of it. He wheels out to the right, but lost it. His hand pass was indiscriminate. It's picked off by Gibbs. Kick up beyond halfway, but it's well controlled by Patful. And the Lions get it back. Centering ball.
They're on the outer wing.
Longer, and he's seen what's on Karnitsis. He's on the logo on the far side. Zorko ran forward as well, but Polkinghorn's a better target. He marks it 60 out from goal. Out onto the right boot. Brown at full forward sets himself into the contest. Staying down was Green. Got hold of it. Almost taken high. Gets it to Brown, who somehow winkles a kick out of there. It rolls across the face of goal. And out of play next to the behind post.
Big Patful's cleaning up Walker. Walker hasn't had a sniff. Has not had a touch. Boundary throw in alongside the behind post. Brisbane in attack. Cruiser wins, but once again it's Shark. Redden might have taken one high, close to goal. Oh, the umpire didn't see it that way. No, he's going to knock him off the hole. Oh, you're kidding.
I don't think that's any game sense there from the umpire.
So Yaron gets the free kick. Fortunate. Kick by Yaron, well outside the 50. Patful in the middle of the pack, can't take the mark, but works it down to Longer, off to Rich, off to Maguire, 60 out, a mighty kick to the line, Shepherd and all. The mark was nearly taken on the goal line by Brown. He'd have been better off to Shepherd because that was a 9-pointer on the way.
Rich involved again. He's starting to be a bit of a concern for Carlton. He's getting his hands on the footy, and when he is, something's happening.
So the Lions by 13. The kick-in's intended for Robinson. He gets hold of it. Hand passed off to Judd, who was scragged. He dinks it around the wing as far as Hampson, who went up, didn't quite bring it down, but was held with outs. So Sean Hampson at halfway gives the hand pass to Gibbs, who darts around to his left. Has a bounce, straightens up, kicks inside the 50. He really sat it up, and Casbolt was up to the task. That never looked like it was favouring him. but he planted himself away from Merritt and was able to take a most impressive mark.
That just shows you how strong his hands were. I touched on it earlier before the game, and he was against a quality opponent and a strong opponent in Merritt. So usually that's got his name written all over it with the human fist he almost is. So it was obviously a good mark, and all he needs to do now is obviously finishing his good work.
This is for 3 in a row for the Blues. Casbolt from 35, he nurses it through for a goal. And they're well back in this, trimming it up to single figures. 7-point deficit, 1 super goal, 3 straight 27. So the Brisbane Lions 5-4-34.
Bit of trivia, it's his birthday as well. Casbolt is 23 today, Gibbs is 24, and they both scored goals.
Well, as much as that was a forward entry to a contest, it was a one-on-one contest. So Brisbane rather be isolated there, and Casbolt and Merritt didn't have any advantage with an assisting player coming across, and Casbolt was able to take the mark, a very good contested mark, and go back and float it through. But better structure for Carlton. If they can start isolating Brisbane's defenders, they'll be much happier.
Australia have lost a wicket in the cricket, and Ed Cowan didn't quite get to 100. Details in a moment. 4 for just under 300. Carlton out of the middle. Judd gets a hand pass out, and the kick high towards half forward. Awkward half volley to Betts, who ran into a dead end. Works it across to Robinson. He loses it. It's a fierce contest. Golby gets his hand pass back to Patfull. To Rockcliffe. He concedes 15 metres. Handley has a bit of a fumble. He's under pressure and kicks it out of bounds on the full. Who said he was a good field kick?
He's mocked me twice now. We'll say that was on his left though.
Free kick taken by Murphy. He goes long towards full forward. Chance for the Blues, but a good punch towards the boundary line. Judd reaches it. Hand passes beautifully inboard to Carazzo, 51 out. He centres the ball. Casbolt again. No mark. Comes to the front. The Lions have extricated out, but it goes to Duigan, who gets to 49, and Nick Duigan slams the goal home.
Must have been close to a 9-point. I reckon he only had 1 foot over, but a great finish. Obviously not known for his finishing, Duigan, but what that does is the defenders are pushing up, trying to lock the ball in their forward line, so it makes their job easier if it does come out. So it was in the right place at the right time, and a quality finish.
Ed Cowan out for 86, and Australia 4 for 198. Stephen Smith is 27, joined by Haddon.
A point to difference here. The Lions lead 34-33. So back in the middle, they mill and wait for the all clear. Longer and Hampson to go at it. Good bounce in the middle. Hampson up cleanly. Down the way of Robinson. Flings it onto his right boot. High ball to half forward. Well, coming out fearlessly was Yeo, but he didn't take the mark, and Gibbs gets through the traffic, straightens and delivers to Eddie Betts. 45 out, straight in front. Gibbs has gone past, and he would be on here outside the 50, or Betts should have been awake to that. He goes the second option instead, and White has a fling, and he comes up with a super goal. At Tui. Zach Tui came darting round the back. And the Blues have claimed the front. And by some margin, they lead by 8. 2 super goals, 4 straight 42 to 5-4-34.
I was about to say it's one of my pet hates as a forward and in footy when you turn your back to goal and walk back off your mark. But clearly Betts had a plan all along, and Gibbs was the one there, a bit of class and a bit of poise. He was able to pinpoint a kick inside 50 to Betts, about a 25-metre kick instead of that longer entry, and it just broke it up a little bit. Gives the Brisbane defenders something else to think about when Carlton are going forward. So it takes a quality play like that sometimes to just break the cycle.
Blues have bolted to the lead. 2 super goals in their score. Here's the bounce. Hampson might have won the eye or something. He didn't go and compete for the rest of that, Sean Hampson. Anyway, the free kick in the middle goes to Billy Longer, who might have dished it out in the first place. Kicks long towards full forward. Brown caught behind. A pack gathers. The man in front hauls in a ripper. Henderson. Terrific mark and a big pack. Goes out wide towards the city side of the ground. And the kick by Carazzo up towards the centre. Flips off the fingers and gets past the pack. Brisbane want this ball out, and they get it out. and we'll have a throw in on the City side. Adam White.
Now, Drew, Zach Tui's kicked the super goal. Where do the Sherrans go? Because he's only ever played at Carlton, hasn't he? He's played Gaelic football.
Well, it might go to County Laois in Ireland. Would they know what to do with a Sherran over there?
I'm not sure, but 8 of them are going somewhere.
eBay, I reckon.
We'll take him at Mansfield. Some of the balls we've been running around with have been pretty ordinary.
A push in the back on the wing goes Carlton's way. Gibbs gives it off to Lucas, who delivers up to Murphy. 55 from goal. He'll swing it to the goal mouth. Judd made good position. Patful arrived late, and he pumps it through for a rushed behind. The Blues by 9.
Jed Adcock to kick in. Been all Carlton in the early going in this second quarter. To himself, Adcock, and then he kicks towards the 50, but he's set up Zorko, who was camped underneath it, and the troops arrived to punch it away. 43-34, a 9-point lead to Carlton after they trailed by 12 at quarter time. Here's the throw in. Might give the points to Longer this time. At ground level, Zorko gets the hand pass away to Buick. They're on the run here, Brisbane. His hand pass inboard is fumbled, but still going Brisbane's way. It was Polkinghorne the fumbler. He gathers, hand passes backwards, misses a target. Merritt is there, gets over the ball. He should have punched it out, I reckon. Umpire says play on, and now there's a push in the back. It's going to be a Carlton free kick. Advantage goes to the Blues, and hurriedly Lucas kicks inside the 50. Walker is there, and Walker, who hasn't had a touch, will get a free kick at last.
Carlton's forwards just starting to get on the move a little bit more, which is giving their ball carriers upfield a few more options, and Walker, who's been fairly quiet tonight, he got on his bike then and drew a free kick, so good chance for him to get his night kick started with a set shot.
So we're right behind this from our commentary box on the wing. Walker will be kicking from just inside the 50. Yo, who gave away the free, standing the mark. Walker's kick is right and stays right for a behind. Seesawing game. Carlton 2 super goals, 4-2, 44. Lead Brisbane 5 goals for 34.
27 points down to 10 points up the Blues. The kick in is a long one into the middle of the ground. Martin flew, but he didn't quite take it. Canixis got it round to a dead end. He took them all on and he was brought down. Cruiser got him. Murphy tidies up. He balks around, steadies, and then misses out to the right. He'd done all the hard work, but the kick didn't match the endeavour. It's the Blues by 11 on the behind.
How good's that tackle from your ruckman? That's the beauty about Matty Cruiser. Very capable in the air and in the stoppages, but to get at him at ground level like that, he's a terrific player.
Golby kicks in short to the back pocket for Maguire. He goes longer, very long, up not far short of centre wing. Pack gathers, no mark, comes off hands to Bootsma. He loses it. Polkinghorne gathers an awkward ball. Terrific hand pass up the ground to Martin. His hand pass in, and here they come. Carnesis beats a tackle, has a bounce, gets inside the 50 and goes for goal, but he's kicked it low. A real miss kick. Hasn't made the distance. Has been marked in the goal square in defence for the Blues.
Henderson brings it out through Yaron and now to the halfway mark. Walker was in front, didn't take the mark. Yo made a really good contest, and then there's a push in the back free kick going Yo's way. No, the umpire's pointed the wrong way. It's now going Walker's way.
Very lucky to get it in the first place, I think.
Yep. Short ball to Robinson should open the play up. Now the high ball. Hampson's the man, but over the top comes Merritts. He scouted that well, and he takes the intercepting mark. He's got options on the way out. Golby was camped to his right. But the Blues have manned up well. And now it's just a high and hoping ball beyond the defensive 50. Off hands of Casbolt. It fell the way momentarily of Martin, who hand passed it out toward the boundary, and it's punched the rest of the way there by Casbolt.
Gee, Rich has gone out of the game. He was burning in the first quarter. Just one possession in this second quarter in just over 12 minutes. Boundary throw in, won by Cruiser. Ball at ground level gathered by Maloney. Carnesis, they're off and running. Adcock has a bounce through the circles, kicks to full forward. Chance for the Lions. The ball pitches, there's a hold, And the free kick is going to Carlton. The defending team gets the free kick. And it's taken by Jamison, who kicks the Blues out towards the defensive 50, and Carazzo marks close to the ground. Plenty of people thought he might have got the captaincy during the week, but it went to Mark Murphy. But he kicks well, and Casbolt dives in and marks just inside the boundary line behind the wing. 45-34, an 11-point lead to the Blues.
Casbolt kicks up beyond halfway. Hampson was the target. Merritt over the top. It's out of play. Adam White.
Jared, just trying to work out how this interchange cap is going to work on some of the really good midfielders. Mark Murphy spent the first 11 minutes on the ground in this second term. Now, that's a lot longer than what would normally be the case if there was no cap. He'd usually be off after 7 or 8 minutes.
The ruckman collapsed in that contest. Redden got it to Rich, who was stripped of the ball, but he burrows through, works a hand pass forward. Maloney knocks it on. He might have been taken without it. Polkinghorne shovels it forward as well, only as far as Carazzo. He kept his footing, but he lost the ball, and Maloney, he's now stripped of it. So interception after interception. McLean did well. He put it forward to the play for Simpson. Got a good shepherd. Now links it up over the top. Walker's made the running for him. He bounces, closes to 55, sets it to the teeth of goal. Hampson behind, lunges at it, can't get there. It was done well by Merritt, expertly as he always does.
Just happens to get an arm in there every single time. He was outnumbered, probably not to his advantage either, so it was great to get a spoil in.
Kick in, knocked down for the Blues towards Dygan, but it beats him out of bounds and we'll have a throw in. Well, Whitey talked about the long spell out in the middle there for Murphy. A lot of players are sucking in the big ones, being played at a fierce pace and an entertaining game of football. At the boundary throw, and it comes to Rich, who slings the hand pass 20 metres up the ground. Comes to Bootsma of the Blues. Hand pass to Murphy to Gibbs. Great tackle here by McGrath. Finishes up with Robinson of Carlton. He kicks long towards full forward. Knock to the front. Chance for Carlton. They've lost it though. Maguire gets the hand pass up to Maloney. Into Patwell. Magnificent tackle. He lost it. Eddie Betts gets the hand pass up. Casbolt has a fumble. Tidied up by Yo. He's bowled over. He hit the concrete of the car park pretty hard there. It's a really good contest right in front and 35 out. The umpire's going to come in and ball it up, and the crowd just applauding the efforts of players from both teams.
That's the consistency. We both looked at each other at the same time. He dived in, didn't get the free kick, so I reckon there's going to be a bit of controversy about this rule this year.
Tossed up, Cruiser, the tap, it was punched further afield. Betts is trying to get loose of Gelby. He couldn't. Murphy out against the boundary. Needs some help, tried to screw it back around. It was smothered by Patwell. Off the ground goes Robinson. It's not going anywhere. Murphy gets in to decisively settle it. His kick was smothered though on the way out. And it goes rolling across the boundary, about 10 around from the behind post.
Just a good contest at the moment, isn't it? Both sides trying to wrestle some ascendancy. It's pretty tough out there at the moment.
It's Carlton by 12. Cruiser taps it to the back. Carnisis, though, gets hold of it. He gives it to Polkinghorne for the Lions. Bounces it out around the far wing. Cornelius didn't make the best of contests. It was probably thrown in there to Dygan. The Blues come out with it, though. Bootsma to Jamison, and now up to Simpson. He bounces it, runs to 52, sets it up to full forward. He overkicked his forwards, though, and it gives Patwell a chance at the back. He pats it up to himself, onto the boot. He's kicked to no man's land. He's going to get knocked off for deliberate, but I reckon he was happy with that. He had to get it away. He gained 70 metres. He's turned it over.
And the free kick for Carlton taken by Armfield, who kicks it backwards, and he finds Gibbs back on the logo at centre wing. So they start again. Kick is high for Carazzo, but he takes a good overhead mark under pressure. 46-34, Carlton leading. 16 and a half gone second quarter. Carazzo's kick, Robinson caught behind, and Merritt takes the mark and gives Robinson a gobful on his way back. Merritt kicks across the face of goal. This will be one of the great sins of football of all time. Karnitsis takes the mark. Further short pass finds Maloney. Maloney kicks outside the defensive 50 and they're off and running. Golby.
Great kick.
Into Rockcliffe. Back edge of the centre square. He puts it into midfield. Martin takes the mark. Gets some good run from Adcock. Down the corridor, Adcock to centre half forward. And a terrific mark. He looked as though he'd beaten in the contest, Gibbs. And he actually fell back from his opponent and has been knocked off for a push in the back.
From the non-officiating umpire as well. Going for the 9 points here.
The hand pass off. And a shot from outside the 50 by Golby. Hasn't made the distance. Contest in the goal square. And Carlton happy to get it towards the pocket. Away from goal. taken by McGrath. He works it up to Rich, who runs towards goal. It's Green, and Green from the outside of his boot has kicked an unbelievable goal. Josh Green gets his second. Fantastic stuff. And the Lions are within 6 points.
Very lucky to get away in the end, Matt, with Brisbane. It was a 50-50 just to centre half forward. They're lucky the free kick and end up getting paid in the end, because if not, Carlton were out here on the near wing here, and they would have ran all the way, I reckon.
The thing I liked about that build-up was from half back, they actually by foot changed the angles, and they made the Carlton defenders actually shift. So their ball movement was really good. Free kick against Gibbs, and 9-point shot attempt didn't work for them, but actually by foot look like they're trying to get some method into their game.
First goal in some time for the Lions. They trail by 6 points in the middle. The Blues get the first look at it. Betts, though, is dispossessed, and Rich drives the Lions back to centre half forward. It bounces past McGrath. It's gathered well by Henderson on the way out for the Blues, and he blasts it around the wing. It bounces past Adcock and Murphy and sits there for Lucas. So the Blues will come inside the 50. High ball didn't do White any favours. Spoil made by Maguire, and it spills to the back and out of play.
Couple of good players on the bench at the moment. Judd for Carlton for about the third or fourth time, and John O'Brien for the Lions.
40 out from the Carlton goal, attacking the Coventry end in this second term. Hampson down to the front. Simpson trying to run onto it. Gets it, evades the tackle, swings it onto the boot. He's pushed it across the face and through for a behind. The Blues by 7.
Hanley kicks in for the Lions. He's kicked at a country kilometre, a ripping kick. And the mark taken by Buick over half-back flank. Kicks up towards centre wing. Martin backs his man into the out from underneath the ball. Jamison, and kick further afield, and they've gained further ground, and it's out of bounds up towards the forward 50 for the Lions. And played by Martin. Here's the throw in. Zorko actually wins the hit out because the umpire couldn't throw it far enough. It's on the 50. McGrath has it. Caught by Carazzo. Little hand pass by Zorko to Rich. He goes to ground. Zorko gets it again. Fights really hard. Somehow gets boot to ball. Comes outside the 50. Polkinghorne back towards the goal square. And a good defensive spoil. Ball knocked away by Henderson to concede the behind.
Carlton by a goal again. Long kick in by Henderson. Out to Lucas against Rockcliffe, and neither could mark, and it races away from them out of play.
Well, the coaches both promised they'd have a crack. Having a real good go.
47 plays 41. We're 20 minutes into the second term on Grandstand AFL. At the throw-in. I'm not sure Hampson made much of an effort at that. Oh, he's going to come up with a free kick, which shows from a distance he can read things the wrong way. Apparently he was being held onto.
I don't know which way. He's going the opposite way. What on earth is going on here?
So it was long as... No, that's ridiculous.
He didn't go over his marking.
The umpires...
I'm lost.
The umpires pointed the wrong way both times. Now, Longer was 10 metres forward of where the mark should have been, so that could never have been play on. The umpire who lost his calibration just had to settle things down. Instead, it's the Blues ball. Lucas kicks it up to the wing to Casbolt. High ball up to the 50. White's the target. Patfuller's there. It reaches the back and goes out of play.
Can't say I've ever seen that ever in my whole 13 years of league footy.
Wonder what Rowan Saws will say about that.
No, you can watch the DVD as much as you like, and that won't explain it, Drew. You can have an hour watching the DVD and ask every question you like.
From the boundary throw-in comes to Carazzo. Hand pass to Robinson. A kick goes over his shoulder towards the goal square. There's a punch away, a push, and it's a Carlton free kick on the point of the goal square. And this should be a goal coming up to the Blues, to Simon White. Well, there were two defenders there, but a major miscreant, I suppose, was Merritt. The margin's 6 at the moment. This to make it a 2-goal game for the Blues, approaching the 22-minute mark of the second quarter. White has had just 4 touches. His second kick for the night is a goal. And Carlton have 2 super goals, 5 goals 5, 53, to Brisbane 6-5, 41, the margin 12.
Merritt's been terrific tonight, and they're tough ones because he's gone back with the absolute intent of trying to influence the ball in flight, and purely on the fact he hasn't made contact, he's given away a free kick for fun on contact. But you'd hate to see that part of a defender's game be taken away. Again, he's been terrific, but good opportunity for White to hit the scoreboard, and it's being played at a frantic pace, this game. You just wonder how it's going to play out in the second half, because both sides are having a real crack.
Josh Fraser on Grandstand AFL with Lindsay Gilby. It's the Blues by 12. At the bounce, Cruiser got his fingertips to it. Murphy came charging through, went without it. Lucas gathered the ball. He's stripped of it. Rockcliffe pushes it the other way for the Lions. Out to Rich. He fires a little further out. It falls the way of Canisius a bit fortuitously. Kick the full forward, and Jonathan Brown will make it good at the back of a four-man pack.
Nothing fancy about it. We've said it earlier, just getting the ball in. I think that's the way AFL's going now. If you have a look at the setup for the people at home, if the ball's deep in their defence, if they're deep in the forward line, the defence pushes up. Virtually everyone on the whole ground is forward of centre, because the idea is obviously to keep it in. The longer it's in there, obviously the more chance you get the score.
So Jonathan Brown will be barely 15 metres out from goal, and there's no angle to speak of to cut the margin to 6. Brown dobs it into the second tier. And the Lions hit back again. 7-5-47, trailing the Blues. 2 super goals, 5-5-53. We have about 4 minutes to play in the half. Adam White.
Jared, Josh Fraser was just talking before about how it would unfold in the second half, because both sets of teams look very tired to this point. We have to remember Brisbane on the back of 3 consecutive 6-day breaks and travelling all of those weeks. They knew themselves they needed to be in touch at half-time to be any chance of winning.
In the test match, Australia 4 for 214. Stephen Smith is 35 and Brad Haddon is 8. He's already hit a 6. Back in the middle. Martin in ruck against Cruiser. Cruiser wins. He gets it down here to McLean, who's bowled over. Ball held to him, and the umpire will bounce or throw it up. A lot of players around this. Cruiser was buffeted and didn't get a hand to the ball. Comes to Armfield, who's slung to ground. Spills out to Hanley of Brisbane, who hits Green on the chest, still just inside the centre square. The redhead Green off to a lead. Cornelius on the lead, but couldn't take the mark. Now it's cleared away by Jamison for Carlton. Now Toohey with a sidestep to get around Rockcliffe. Kick by Toohey over centre wing. 1-on-1, Merritt pushed his opponent out. Kaz Bolton couldn't take the mark. Socket forward for the Blues. Just work it forward. Walker is there, down towards half forward. Patfull with him. Umpire's seen a high tackle here, and it's going to be a Carlton free kick going to Murphy.
He's up quickly to have a look. Didn't really see anything he was liking. It's Gibbs who sets it up to full forward. Out came Hampson. He made a good move, and he probably should have held on to the mark. He didn't. Redden at the drop, Canny. That's an ordinary handball, and Hanley had a devil of a time picking it up against the boundary. It's over. So thrown in 35 out from the Carlton goal. They lead by 6. At the throw in, Martin, you probably credit him with the tap. It's a muddle in there. Judd to McLean out the back. Lucas gets hold of it and screws the kick back up to full forward. Hampson came out. It was kicked out of mid-air by Maguire, not to great effect. It goes sideways and rolls away out of play.
That's what Mick will be after in his second ruckman, to be able to go forward and make a contest in the air and at ground level. I'm not sure Warnock gives him that at the moment, so Hampson's got to continue to provide that option.
Martin has lent into the back of Cruiser at the throw in. Cruiser's gone to ground and got the free kick 30 metres out from goal.
I think he milked that too, for all it's worth. There wasn't a lot in it. He just probably used Martin's, force just to lean forward, and he only lent on him a little bit, but I guess it's smart as well.
So Matthew Cruiser angled out to the left. Steadies himself for the shot at goal. To re-establish some breathing space. The drop punt is a goal. And the Blues push it out to 12 again. as they go goal for goal in the back half of the second term. 2 super goals, 6-5-59 Carlton, 7-5-47 the Lions. About to hit 28 on the clock.
I've probably made my feelings known about Matty Cruiser already. I just think he's a star. I think he's got the capabilities of being a top 5 player in the competition. And again tonight, I think his stats aren't huge in terms of ball getting, but the work he provides, he's laid a couple of really big tackles. He can go forward and kick a goal. I think he gives Carlton that dimension they need in a big man.
Margin back to 12 points in favour of the Blues. They trailed by 12 at quarter time. It's been a big second term at the 28-minute mark. Might give this to longer. It comes down to Judd, who hasn't got the pace of the game at all. Ball jolted out of his arms, comes to Gibbs. Carazzo, a little hand pass back to Yaron. Yaron, a high ball slightly off the side of the boot. It pitches. Adcock is there. He gathers. Sweeps the hand pass to Hanley, who gets around Yaron cleverly to the Irishman. Beautifully played. Off to Redden. Hand pass comes back to Buick. His kick towards half forward looking for Brown. Buffeted off it. Well played Jamison. Ball's still alive here for the Blues. Judd, a hand pass back. And it comes to McLean, who kicks towards half forward, but it goes out of bounds on the bounce. And we're going to have a throw in.
That was a great spoil from Jamison. That cannot be underestimated. To cut the ball off at your own back line, to get the ball back into their own forward half, it's a really good fist.
You're dealing with a body like Jay Brown.
At the throw in, Longer got the tap, but it went straight to Carazzo. Hand pass to Simpson. Carlton inside the 50. Marking contest. Patfull's got it, but there's going to be a free kick the Blues way. It's going to Hampson. In all the interference that was being run at the front of the pack. Hampson wasn't in the marking contest. He sort of was skirted across the front of it by Maguire. And quite illegally so, said the umpire.
If I'm reading the stats correctly, the free's at 21-8 in favour of Carlton.
Sean Hampson, angled to the right. 30 metres out from goal. The drop punt starts right and stays there on the breath of half-time. So Carlton goes to the main change, 13-point leaders. 2 super goals, 6-60. The Brisbane Lions, 7-5-47. So a 12-point deficit at quarter time becomes a 13-point lead for the Blues at the half. The goal kickers, the 2 super goals came from Gibbs and Tui, and the rest are singles. Cruiser, Robinson, Betts, Dygan, Casbolt and White. For the Lions, 2 for Green and 1 each to Rich, Zorko, Brown and Polkinghorn. Carlton by 13 on Grandstand AFL in the pre-season grand final. Josh Fraser and Lindsay Gilby.
What I've really been impressed with in that, especially in that quarter, actually Carlton reversed the tables on Brisbane. Brisbane were really clean going forward in the first quarter. Tables have been turned in that half. That quarter there where Carlton getting the ball forward were really clean. They lowered their eyes, you said on one occasion. Gibbs lowered his eyes, got the ball into around centre half forward there, and then 2 end up kicking the 9-pointer. So Carlton were a lot more efficient going forward than what Brisbane were in that half.
Yeah, it was a game of momentum that second quarter. Clearly Brisbane were well on top in the first quarter, and the second quarter Carlton started well out of the blocks. They hit the scoreboard, they got a couple of 9-pointers. Their forward line pressure and their method going forward was so much more better than the first quarter, and I think that might have been an instruction from Mick just to use the ball a bit more cleanly through the centre of the ground, give your forwards a chance to either get on the move or isolate the Brisbane defenders one-on-one. But it's a really good game of footy. We spoke about it in the second quarter that it's been played at a cracking pace, and the midfield battles probably started to even itself out a bit. Brisbane were well on top in the first quarter, but Carlton wrestled some ascendancy back there. I'm enjoying it. I think it's a good game of footy, and it'll be interesting now the second half, that factor of Brisbane travelling back to Queensland for their preparation and then coming back. How are they going to run the game out? You'd think Carlton at home, or not having the travel factor, might run it out a little bit better.
Carlton kicked the ball more in that second quarter, so they've evened it up a bit. Disposals are 168 to 167. The Lions by just 1. And kicks and handballs are much of a muchness after Carlton were forced into handballs in the first quarter. But I tell you what helped them get some kicks in the second quarter. There were 14 free kicks to 3 Carlton's way in the second quarter. So at halftime it's 21-8. That's amazing.
Yes. It was 11 scoring shots to 4 for the term, so all Carlton's way in the second stanza. More from Josh Fraser and Lindsay Gilbey from Docklands after the latest from the ABC newsroom. It's Carlton by 13 points at half-time of the pre-season grand final. 2 super goals, 6-6-60 to the Brisbane Lions, 7-5-47. So 13 points after it was 12 the Lions' way at quarter time. We'll knock off some of these scores and then give you all the stats. The Test, Australia 4 for 237. So late in the opening day's play. The Shield scores, and you'll get a lot of this on Grandstand across the weekends. Victoria and Tasmania at Bellerive. Tassie with 9 declared for 369. In reply, Victoria 7 for 264. Western Australia and Queensland at the Wacker. Queensland all out for 164. WA are 5 for 136, zeroing in on first innings points. New South Wales and South Australia at the SCG. South Australia 182. They were betted by New South Wales 219. And in the second dig, South Australia 4 for 93. In the NRL tonight, it's half-time. St George Illawarra and the Brisbane Broncos are tied at 6 points apiece. It's second half action in the A-League. Adelaide FC 1, Newcastle 1. And in the Super Rugby, the Waratahs 23 lead the Cheetahs 20. And that is 62 minutes in. So second half action, the Waratahs by 3 over the Cheetahs.
And in the Test match, 4 for 237 Australia. Cowan made 86. Warner made 71. Clark was out first ball. Hughes took 31 balls to make 2 runs. And Stephen Smith proving himself a worthy number 5 at Test level. He is not out 45. And with him is Brad Haddon, who is not out 18. 4 for 237.
It's all yours to keep running through some numbers, Drew.
Did you hear the tongue in my cheek when I said that? Righto. Some of the stats to half-time in the game. And the most unbelievable one is the free kicks. Carlton 21-8 in the free kick count. The clearances are the Lions 28-23. Let me see. The total disposals 168-167. So the Lions by a margin of just 1. And the Lions have outmarked the Blues at a ratio of 2-1, 43-21. Some of the individuals for the Blues. Let me see. We'll get him in order here. That makes it easier. On top is Simpson with 15 possessions. Robinson, Gibbs and Murphy all have 14. Lucas 13. Yaron and Carazzo have 10 each. Down the other end of the scale, Walker with just 3. Casbolt 3. And you might be interested in Judd. 1 kick, 6 hand passes, 7 possessions to half-time. For the Brisbane Lions, the leaders there are Hanley and Maloney with 13 each. Rich has 12. 11s for Carnesis, Rockcliffe and Polkinghorne. And if you haven't heard Cornelius much, he's had just 1 touch. McGrath's had 3 and Yo has had 4. And just repeating at half-time, it is a 13-point lead to the Blues over the Lions in the final of the pre-season cup.
So the clearest observation, it's been entertaining. Just check our marks at the back. Try again, Lindsay.
There we go. It was, sorry about that, guys. It's been a great contest. That's something that's really stood out. I guess the disappointing part, in Brisbane in this instance is last week they had really good contributions from their young forwards. I think Buick, he kicked 4 goals last week and Cornelius kicked 3. They haven't backed up that tonight, which has been a little bit disappointing, especially on Brisbane's behalf, because they would have been pretty happy how they went last week. Showed some really good signs, but kind of haven't backed it up again tonight. And you could throw in Carnesis, has been pretty quiet as well. So there's just a couple of guys that for if they lift in the second half, I think Brisbane can get back into it.
Yeah, it's been it's a real game of momentum, as we've spoken about. In the first quarter, Brisbane dominated that, but around the clearances, we saw the numbers, or heard the numbers there from Drew. Carlton started to get themselves back into it, and a clearance opportunity, particularly a centre square bounce, is the perfect opportunity to get a forward entry without having been confronted with a press or a zone. So it's the best opportunity to get your ball going forward, have an even number contest. Occasionally you'll be faced with a +1, but in these type of games, in this environment, you'll be faced with an even number contest forward of the footy. And we saw Carlton wrestle their way back into the stoppage situation there. the ball going forward a little bit more freely, and they were able to hit the scoreboard, particularly early in that quarter. So second half shapes as a good contest. I'm not sure where the game's heading, to be honest, because as we've touched on, it is a real arm wrestle. But I think, again, if Rich, Rockcliffe, Redden, they can get busy, Brisbane are well and truly in this. On the other hand, if Carlton continue with Cruiser in the middle, who's just dominating the ruck work, if their on-ballers can make good of his good work in the centre, well then I can't see them getting beaten.
And what also stood out to me is how important actually Pierce Hanley is in their setup. In that first quarter, he was absolutely dominating. I think he had 11 disposals. He's got 13 for the half. Armfield went to him and he plays that defensive forward kind of role. So for Brisbane to get back into the game, even though they're not far down, is his important, his run off the half back. And what makes him so valuable, he makes good decisions with the ball. He doesn't just bomb it. More than often he hits a target, even though he's let me down a couple of times in that quarter. He kicked a couple out on the full as soon as I gave him a rap. But he's so important to their run off half back because McGrath's kind of pushed forward. He's making him, I guess, rejuvenate himself as a bit of a forward. So he's really taken over that run from half back. So Pierce Hanley's one that I'm really looking forward to have a big second half.
You've just learned early in your broadcasting life that is just part of the game. Everyone comes to that. As soon as you say, oh, bloke's an absolute champion, he'll get out first ball. Bloke can't play footy, it's 14 touches in a quarter, happens every time.
Do the buttons always something? They kind of got me a bit mixed up at the start too.
That's just to trap the young players.
So, with Matthew Cruiser, Josh, can you see development, or is this just the standard that he's established in his best moments?
Yeah, I think we forget he's come off a knee reconstruction, so he's a young player that's just trying to get some continuity into his football and also into his training probably. I'd imagine he's the type of guy who they'd really have to monitor through a pre-season and particularly through a season itself, but all the signs I've seen so far in this pre-season have been massive pluses for Matty Cruiser. We know his ability. We can see him tonight dominating the centre circle, but his ability to go forward and take a mark, and he's great on the ground. We've seen him lay a couple of massive tackles, so he's essentially another midfielder when the ball hits the deck. And he's the type of guy that, unlike a Cox who probably needs his 20 possessions, 25 possessions, Cruiser can have his 10 or 12 touches, have 5 or 6 big tackles, and probably go forward and kick you 2 or 3 goals. So I just think he's vital for Carlton. And the second part of that is, who do you pair him up with? I just think Hampson gives him more of a forward presence. Warnock's probably the better ruckman, but I think Mick would be looking for a tool that has a second string to their bow, and Warnock probably just hasn't demonstrated, probably through lack of opportunity as well, that he can go forward and play that second fiddle as a ruckman, whereas Hampson probably does it a bit more naturally.
I think, it comes down to also athletic ability, and I think that's where I think Hampson has the leg up on Warnock in that instance. A couple of times he just leads. He's actually the quickest player at Carlton, over 20 metres, which is, for a guy who's over 200 centimetres and probably 100 kilos, that's obviously takes a little bit of time to get up and going, but once he's up and going, he's a hard guy to catch. So I think the versatility that he shows is definitely in front of Warnock at this stage.
It says a lot about their depth, because a Warnock would walk into a lot of other sides as probably a first choice ruckman. So they're in good shape in the big man department, but again, I just think Cruiser tonight's been terrific, and he's going to be a real key for him this year.
And conversely with the Lions, the absence of Leuenberger is stark.
Yeah.
To achieve anything this year, he's going to need to play a lot of footy.
Yeah, well, I spoke about Cruiser potentially being a top 5 player in the competition. Leuenberger's got those attributes as well. His ability to move across the ground, and he's probably more in the Cox mould. You know, he can get his 20-25 touches a game and dominate the hit out. So he's really important. And long as, whilst we're wrapping Cruiser up, long as battling as a young player, he's having a real crack. He not quite as conditioned as Matty Cruiser. He's probably had to burden most of the ruck work himself. Martin's gone in there on occasions, but I think he's handled himself really well, and this will be a massive learning experience for Billy Longer. So if you're a Brisbane fan and you're looking at him tonight, I wouldn't be too disappointed, because if you can get Leuenberger back up and running, you've got a fit Longer with some more experience under his belt, and then you've got a Martin who is capable of pinch hitting. Their big man stocks look all right as well.
As a ruckman yourself, is that the position on the ground you watch mostly, and how they're covering the ground and how they're matching up?
Probably because I'm just out of the game. I've spent the last 5 or 6 years playing against these guys
trying to build them
and chasing them around the paddock. So but the the younger, athletic, new age ruckman, I suppose, is there's a position that I look at pretty closely, and they're impressive athletes. I mean, when you consider the way the ruck position was played, 10, 15 years ago, it's changed a hell of a lot, and the demands on a ruckman now are more than just taking the centre circle. You have to be able to get around the ground and win your fair share of the footy.
And that goes for the midfielders as well. These days, you can't be just a midfielder to come off the ground. I think you've got to be a midfielder either to rest forward, a midfielder to rest back, pockets, either way. So the days of a midfielder playing on the midfield for 5 minutes and then coming off, especially when it comes to rotations and stuff, you've got to be able to play forward. That's why the guys like Dane Swans, and I'll put Ryan Griffin in that category, Scott Pendlebury, they're guys that can actually go forward. Gary Ablett, probably the best player in competition. He's a guy who goes for midfield. You can put him half back, you can put him in the forward pocket, he can play it anywhere. So midfielders like that are really valuable to your team setup.
The subs are still the same after half-time. Rowe, Curnow and Joseph for the Blues. Doherty, Beams and Rains for the Lions. And starting on the bench at the second half, Simpson, Armfield and Walker for Carlton. Maloney, Polkinghorne and Buick for the Lions.
Subs have got a strategic role to play in this with a raft of them. It's different to just having one. Is punctuate who comes out and who goes in. When are you prepared to just leave a lone ruckman and maybe add two zipping runners into the mix?
Puts a bit of pressure back on the coach's box as well, and the assistants and the sports science department. So, because as you touched on, Jared, you can pull the trigger too early sometimes.
So Carlton by 13 points into the second half of the pre-season grand final with Drew Morfitt on Grandstand AFL.
There's the bounce to get us underway. Cruiser beaten this time by longer. The ball pitches and comes out. And the hand pass up the ground by Lucas. He's dragged to ground. And Carlton will take a free kick. Judd kicks towards half forward. It's a little bit too high. Bunted down by Patfull and grabbed by Green of the Lions. He's got plenty of space. He has a couple of bounces through the wing. Comes inboard. Sweeps the hand pass off. Redden. This is good play by the Lions. And a shot for goal on the run. Buick gets the goal. Carnesis gets the goal. And that is it within about 28 seconds of the bounce to start.
Just shows you what a turnover is like, especially on centre wing. The ball was a little bit high unless White actually didn't read it and ran under it. But transition running down the other way. Green, good sidestep. I spoke about Carnesis in the break, how he needs to get into the game. Obviously, he started this quarter well. Hopefully they can continue it on. But really, really good play from centre wing onwards there.
The ability to have a player who can run and carry the footy, just that 20-30 metre burst, it just breaks up the defence.
Patfull's come out of that passage of play though with a calf injury, and the doctors have rallied around him. He's not moving particularly well. He's going to stay on the field for the time being. Back in the middle, Longer probably got a piece of that. Again, Rich grapples at ground level with Carazzo, and the umpire required to separate them. The Blues by 7. Tossed up outside the two circles. Longer made a good start to the second half. It's a free kick in here with Rich being scragged off the ball. He'll drop it onto the left boot and roost them deep forward. Brown's the target. He's got plenty to fly against him. Redden's the crummer. Gets it onto the left boot. It's a wide open goal front. It might roll home. It does. Jack Redden with the goal. The Lions grab a couple inside 2 minutes, and the margin is 1 point. Brisbane 9-5-59, Carlton 2-6-6-60.
Big Jono Brown, just the presence again inside 50 and just the ability to make a contest. You don't necessarily have to pluck a mark on every occasion, but he forced a contest. And Redden's another player we spoke about in the pre-game. His ability and what he brings to the table adds to that core group of the young players, and a nice finish on that occasion.
Haddon out in the test match, out for 21. Smith is not out, 49. Australia 5 for 244. Bounce back in the middle. Lands on the head of Longer, who might have won 3 head-outs in a row. There's a push just as Judd breaks out of the middle and is going to put Carlton into attack. The free kick comes to the Lions. And it'll be taken by Billy Longer, who's just 20 years of age. He kicks inside half forward. There's no mark. Comes off hands to Dygan. Sweeps the hand pass to Murphy. Murphy's hand pass out wide. And it comes to Lucas. His kick over the wing towards half forward. And into the bread basket of Hampson, who takes the mark and kicks short of the 50. Casbolt is there. And a good spoil put on him by Merritt, and the ball goes out of play. Half forward for the Blues. It's 60-59, the Blues by a point.
At the throw-in. Cruiser to the front this time, but Longer gets it at ground level. He held the footy above his head for a little while, had to release it, but the Blues get hold of it. Gibbs out the back to Judd. High ball up to the 50. Going to be hard to mark. White came with good eyes for it. Patfull was right with him. Spoil was made. Ground level, Rockcliffe got it. Kick didn't go very far. Kinesis, though, keeps the momentum going. Green has run down, but he hand passes it forward as well. They covered good territory, the Lions, but lost it eventually. Rockcliffe smothers the hand pass of Lucas, and it ricochets out of play on the far side at halfway.
Yeah, they were just running the ball forward then, the Lions. And even though a tackle was laid, the hand pass got them further forward. Cruiser this time gets in front of Longer. It comes down to Carazzo, but sharked by Rich of Brisbane. His kick bounces end on end up towards half forward. Brown gets pushed into the fence by Jamison. It's going to be a throw in at half forward for the Lions. In comes the ball. Longer's had a pretty good start to this second half. Loses out this time to Cruiser, who gathers. Hand pass to Murphy. Turns one way, then the other. Hand pass comes into Lucas. His kick towards midfield is ill-directed. It is marked here by Adcock for Brisbane. Longer full forward. Brown in front. Can't take the mark. Crumbs from McGrath. He overruns it. Brown has a second go at it. Taken to ground and a good tackle. In the back. Free kick to Brown. 40 from goal.
Bit lucky to get away with that, Brisbane. I mean, the free kick, you could argue that was there, but Martin actually provided a really solid lead through the forward 50, and Adcock had I suppose that's the Brown factor, had Brown deep one-on-one and elected to kick to that contest. So it's turned out okay for them, but I think the option taking going forward there could have been a lot better.
Yeah, Henderson might have been a bit unlucky. Brown has kicked a goal, kicked two actually, one in each quarter, going for number 3. And this to put the Lions back in front, 40 metres from goal. That's what champions can do, right through the middle, a perfect drop punt. Adam White.
We've had the first sub down here, Drew, the first of probably 6. Rowe into the action for the Blues. White has been subbed out. He's got some tape on his knee, and I reckon he's not 100% fit for the Blues.
So the Lions lead at another wicket to the cricket, Drew. Henriques was bowled for a duck. 6 for 244.
I didn't want a cricket score from you quite that quickly. Thank you very much.
I know. The Lions 3 goals in 6 minutes. 65 plays 60. Josh Fraser's mentioned this has been a game of momentum, and it runs full steam with Brisbane for the time being. Up goes Cruiser in the middle. He won the tap, but Rockcliffe got it. Sharp hand pass to Adcock was a great gather. Kick to full forward. Oh, Martin bowled over the pack. He's trying to gather in the pocket. He almost got it to his boot. The Blues covered him all the way to the behind line, and it rolls through for a minor score. Brisbane by 6.
Kick in by Henderson. He's gone for as much distance as he can find and does it beautifully. Cruiser takes the mark on his chest, well outside the 50. Cruiser's kick to centre wing is beautifully delivered again. And Rowe just on the ground takes the mark. Half distance ball further afield to Robinson. City side of the ground. Robinson's kicks low, but actually it goes over the head of his forward who he's looking for and goes out of bounds down towards the forward pocket. Crowd nearly 25,000. Good atmosphere, and they're getting a great game of football, and hopefully you're enjoying the broadcast on Grandstand. 66-60. The Lions lead by a goal from the boundary throw-in. It's hurriedly centred here by McLean for the Blues. In a dangerous spot for the Lions defence. Hand pass comes to Zorko. His kick out of defence. Pretty much straight up the centre of the ground. If Carlton get it here, they'll be away. Dygan gathers the ball. He's inside the centre square. Short pass is beautifully delivered, and Rowe takes the mark. He's made an immediate impact, and he gets a 50-metre penalty. It's against Patfull. His hands in the back are coming over the mark, and Rowe will be marched all the way to the goal line, and this will be a certain goal which will level the scores.
Absolutely nothing in that. I think he just put the slightest hand on his back And he actually tripped over his own feet, which I think actually insinuated the free kick a bit more. So
Sam Rowe gets the goal. The bloke having recovered from cancer and back playing league footy. The scores are level here, 66 apiece, and we've played 8.5 minutes in the third quarter.
Great story, Sam Rowe. He's actually shown throughout the pre-season competition an ability to go into the middle as well and pinch it for a few minutes, but he's a very likely type up forward. But Dygan's kick then as well, just to lower the eyes and have a shallower entry inside 50, just broke it up. The Brisbane defenders were probably caught on their heels a little bit, assuming there was going to be a longer kick, and the resultant 50 gives him a young Sam Rowe a shot on goal.
So high tempo opening to the second half. With it all locked together at 66 apiece. Martin's gone into the ruck for the Lions. Hampson opposed to him for the Blues. Murphy and Rich side by side. Hampson gets the tap down to Murphy, dragged down by Rich, and the kick just flops 20 metres further afield. At half forward, Yo was brave. He grabbed it. He spins himself out of trouble. He kicks to the open terrain. Robinson comes back hard for the Blues. Goes up and he's got support from Yaron. Corralled close to the boundary, but he wedges his kick around. Out came Rowe, didn't make good enough contact, and Patfull gets onto the spillage. He used Rich, and sideways to Karnitsis. Oh, he's wandering, he's almost run down. He squeezes his kick around the wing, and it's effective. Hanley gets there to mark, and he can break. He has a bounce to reach right half forward, pulls the kick superbly, and Green could not help but mark it.
I'm back. So, no, fantastic. That's what you can't teach. You can't teach that. That's just... I'll give him a bit of a doubt. I think he was going for that, but it actually obviously worked out well. But it's smart getting the hand. Sorry about that, but getting the ball in the guys who can actually use it just pays dividends.
Josh Green already has a couple. No angle here. 40 metres out. The drop putt is his third, and the Lions lead again. 12-6. 11-6-72 to 2-7-6-66. The Lions by 6 points.
That's Green's third goal, but when it comes to a defender such as like Chris Yaron, I played a similar role. And when you're a player such of his capabilities, when he goes into a mindset of the game, he feels like he might have to get the ball for Carlton to be a better team. You actually got to defend first. That's the hard part of playing a position like that. You always got to defend first. So Green's kicked 3 goals tonight. He's been a valuable contributor.
Still anybody's game, just the way you'd like it. 11 minutes played in the third quarter. Hampson has a charge of this one. The ump might nearly recall this. No, he doesn't. And it's kicked out of the middle by Redden for Brisbane. Inside the 50, Brown gathers, ducks his head, takes a free kick for a high tackle. Well, did he try to burrow through with his head down?
Yeah, it wasn't a free kick for mine. It was incidental contact, if anything. It was, he had his head down.
It's Tommy Rockcliffe. No, Rockcliffe delivering the ball back to Brown. Now, here's Brown, man on the mark, 50 out. So if he kicks it, still a 6-pointer, just inside the line it was. He's taking a massive runner. Big responsibility on the former captain. He unloads a magnificent kick, a goal.
Tell you what's chalk and cheese from last week's game. Last week he was fumbly and he was working hard, but tonight obviously you just see the value of him. He's a big battering ram. His presence just will get goals in itself, but he's a great return and a great time for hit form, obviously, for heading into round 1.
Well, you could argue tonight he's actually been well held as well, but all of a sudden he's put 4 goals on the board. So he's drawn a few free kicks. He's really competed well inside 50 though, Brownie, and that's what they can ask for him. That's what they will get from him each week. They'll get a solid contest, and he's probably not covering the ground the way he used to, but he's still a very valuable contributor for him.
5 goals to 1 in the term. The Lions by 12, 78 plays, 66. Bounce back in the middle. Hampson taps it straight to Rockcliffe, and the Lions will come forward again. Kick out in front of Brown. It bounces twice before it reaches him. He takes a huge divot out of the ground. Dygan gets onto the footy though for the Blues. Shares it with Carazzo and gets it back. Dygan off half back with a long kick. Merritt might have marked across the front, but he didn't. And it's to be won at ground level. Merritt goes in hard. He drags it in and then had to release it as a result. Murphy lost it. Yo has to give it away. They're being barged backwards, the Lions, but they retain possession. And Zorko finds the way out. Waits the ball well for Martin. Hand pass to Adcock. Gives it on to Zorko on the follow-up. He bangs it deep forward. The run at the pack from the back. No mark taken by Polkinghorne. It spills out. And Yaron right against the boundary. He decides to keep it in, and he might have, he almost coughed it up. High ball was battered down by Simpson, and then Dygan's hand pass smothered by Zorko out of bounds. Adam White.
Again, just with the new interchange rule for this NAB Cup situation, Chris Judd and Mark Murphy playing in the forward line at the moment. Not on the bench, not in the midfield. Both inside 50.
Steph Martin wins in ruck and roves his own ball. He gathers, he centres the ball, and Rich marks just inside the 50. The kick barely went the required distance, but the mark has been paid, and Rich, with a raking left footer, is easily within kicking distance. All Brisbane in this third quarter. They dominated the first and led at quarter time by 12 points. They were absolutely poleaxed in the second quarter. The Blues outscored them by 25 to lead by 13, but Brisbane have regained the lead. Currently it is 12. It could be 18 after this kick. Daniel Rich lets fly, but he's away to the left-hand side and through to a minor score. I've got your problem, Lindsay. I had that down for a golf shot.
Yaron on the kick in. He goes the outer side and he weighted it beautifully. Chance to cover the oncomers and find Lucas at the defensive 50. He takes off with a good shepherd and kicks down the line. So they play wide here, the Blues. Up in front was Casbolt. No mark for him. Betts at ground level. Merritt might have accidentally kicked that out on the full, and he has. So Walker. Couple of steps defensive side of the middle. He's been called to play on. He was outside the boundary. And his kick is smothered, and it's going to be marched down. The Lions are on here. Zorko made the smother. Goes for 9. And he's missed out across the face. It was all ahead of him. They lead by 14 though.
Blues have kicked in quickly. Yaron has it on defensive 50 and pokes the ball up to Simpson on centre wing, dock side of the ground. 80 plays 66. Short pass. Carazzo. Still in between halfback and wing. The kick to true centre wing. Cruiser. Good mark in front of Longer. Hand pass back to Carazzo. Now they advance it forward towards the 50. Patful up. And his arms taken. No mark. Walker a hand pass to Judd, who kicks on the outside of his boot. Gets no distance though. Golby's back there for Brisbane, works it towards the line, and Eddie Betts can't keep the ball alive, and out it goes. Eddie kicked the goal in the first quarter, but he's a long way off the 4 goals he kicked last time.
Thrown in deep forward for the Blues, taken by Maloney for the Lions though. And they will come out through Redden, who has a bounce. He kicks around the wing. Brown trying to get loose of Jamison, propelled himself to take the mark and hit the hands, but came out and goes out of play. Brown rises, slapping at his hands, feeling like he should have been able to hang on to that, having done all the hard work.
He's taken some divots.
Thrown in on the wing. Lucas gets hold of it for the Blues. Out the back to Simpson. Wheels onto the left boot. Kick up beyond halfway. Oh, an untidy pack that Rowe crunched, and Yo has paid the price for at the bottom of it. He's rolling around on the ground. A slap for the boundary is going to be nailed as deliberate from Merritt.
Giving away a few free kicks tonight.
The Blues get it in a promising position with no one standing the mark. Walker runs on, has a bounce, gets to 55, goes for 9. He's hit it pretty sweetly. It lands in the square. Patfull dropped the mark, and off hands. It's through for a rushed score. It's the Lions by 13.
Hanley, the Irishman, kicks in for Brisbane and gets it to Karnesis on defensive 50. Over the top he goes, delivered down the line. Terrific mark by Buick. At halfback flank for Brisbane. 80 plays 67. 13-point lead to the Lions. Kick by Buick over the wing. Brown backhands the ball, but it's roved in front for Carlton by Lucas. His hand pass back. And the kick by Gibbs up towards half forward. A contest near the boundary line, and the ball out and over. and we'll get a throw in. Merritt does hit the packs pretty hard. He's been free kicked a few times, but he got that ball out. The frees at the moment 23-12 in favour of Carlton, but the game going Brisbane's way by 13 points.
At the throw, and it comes to the front of the pack, and Lucas is starting to get a bit of it. Hand passes to Gibbs, who evades the tackler, kicks the Blues to full forward. It came up a bit short, and Patfull intercepts for the Lions. Hand pass out the back for Hanley. Across the face of goal now to Maguire. He runs deep into the pocket, kicks it as far as he can, trying to open the play up on the broadcast side. It was a well-weighted ball. Mark wasn't taken. Polkinghorne trundles on at ground level. He ran into Henderson, and the Blues' weighted numbers will win out here. Bootsma picks it up off the turf. He squeezes his kick down the line to Simpson, who didn't mark but had sharp hands. He got it onto McLean. They can go one over the top to Judd. He'll deliver inside the 50. Now Casbolt's got a lot of ground to make, and he doesn't quite get there as Yo gets back and takes a steadying mark.
Terrific mark in the last line. Across the face of goal, he finds Rockcliffe. Hand pass to Karnisis on defensive 50. 20-metre hand pass up the ground. Here he comes again, Zorko. He fires one out. They're on the run here. This has been a feature of their game. And here comes Buick running and bouncing down the city side. The kick to the pocket. Brown is there, but the kick is astray and bounces out of bounds in the left forward pocket for the Lions. Throw in. Adam White.
Gee, that was a great mark from Yo, because only moments before the medical team were out to him after he crashed into the pack. And he had to go and do it again, and he did do it again.
Here's the throw in with Brisbane in attack. Cruiser wins the hit out. Yaron tries to bunt it out of there, but only as far as McGrath, who bounces it to goal, and it hits the padding for a point. Goal would have been handy for the Lions there. They lead 12-9-81 to Carlton. 2 super goals, 7-7, 67. Margin 14.
Bootsman's on the kick in. Bowl the no ball. He stepped over the line, and the umpire rushing into effect a ball up.
That's a shocking feeling. I've had that happen to me a few times, and you absolutely cop it from the cheer squad as well.
I think Green's let you know about it.
So the Lions, this is a promising situation. Longer couldn't quite get to the ruck throw in. Rockcliffe trying to get through under the pack. He couldn't. The ball is lost under all manner of bodies. 5 metres further away from the Lions goal, and the more space you get here, the better it can be. It's now 15 out from the goal front. Up went Longer. Won it down. Snap out of the pack by Cornelius, who's been unsighted. He clears the face of goal and kicks it out of bounds on the full.
Sometimes the bolter gets up. Steve Smith, a half century. 52 not out. Siddle, 0 not out. 6 for 247 Australia. Free kick into play. Taken by Armfield for the Blues. Well outside the 50, but it's punched forward. It comes down to Karnisis, who kicks to the goal square for the Lions. Again bunted out by Carlton's defence. They're under pressure. Buick from wide out in the pocket tries to hook it back, but he's kicked it into the crowd. Out of bounds on the full. Brisbane 81, Carlton 67, 21 and a half minutes played in the third quarter. A ripping final.
They're really forcing the issue, the Lions. Can they get a big enough lead going? Yaron clears the defensive 50, but this is all kick and hope from the Blues at the moment. And out against the boundary, it's pushed over by Patfull. And everyone will reset 60 away from the Lions goal. Cruiser and Longer almost moved each other away from it. Polkinghorne gets it through Karnisis. Now to Green from centre half forward. He gives it all he's got. He's given it a good look. Brown in the square can't get hold of it. Underfoot is Rich. He's tackled as soon as he got it. McGrath tries to help out.
Holding the ball
against Rich.
Wasn't it?
So Armfield got him.
Didn't have much time. Don't think he handballed it properly. Armfield takes the free kick across the face of goal. And the mark's taken by Lucas. Gets off and running. Finds space there for McLean. Brock McLean kicks down the line for Walker, who takes a good mark in front of his forehead. Andrew Walker kicks towards the 50 for the Blues. Cruiser in front, nearly hauls in the mark. Not quite. Swept up at ground level by Zorko to Karnisis. Back he goes to Maguire. Maguire's kick pinpoint. And the mark taken by McGrath on the line. He centres it into Polkinghorne. Here come the Lions on the run again. It's great stuff to watch. Out it goes to Golby. He was under a bit of pressure. Tries to work it to Polkinghorne. Gathered by Longer. He's caught in a good tackle. Play on, says the umpire. Brisbane have it again. Golby's kick up towards the 50 for Brisbane. Brown with Jamison. Jamison nudges him ahead of the contest and sees the ball out of play, and we get a boundary throw in.
Just having a look around, everyone looks pretty tired at the moment and probably itching to get to three-quarter time. A lot of guys with their hands on their hips.
Lions by 14, 5.5 minutes to play in the term. At the throw-in, 50 away from the Brisbane goal. Redden's under the pack. He's dispossessed. Rockcliffe does a good job, gets the hand pass out to Zorko. He's taken a flying shot across the face. Brown trying to get to the drop. It eluded him and it bounces out of play. So they all come rushing from the left of goal to the right of the goal to contest the throw-in. And it has been pinned in this portion of the ground for minutes on end. Just the one escape. Zorko pushes it goal side for the Lions. McGrath gets hold of it. He's tackled over the boundary.
Jared's right. They're not getting a lot of reward for effort. Brisbane, they've controlled the game for the last 5 or 6 minutes and played it in their forward half. They'd want to hit the scoreboard, I think.
At the throw-in, Cruiser put it down underfoot. Riches threatening. Kick out of the pack by Cornelius, who for the second time in a couple of minutes has blazed it out of bounds on the full. White, are you getting an earful down there?
I'm getting a headache, I know that much. There's one very passionate Carlton supporter down here. Not a lot of positivity towards her team either.
McLean marks at half-back, kicks towards centre wing, comes to Robinson. Cruiser, a beautiful hand pass to Walker. Walker, a further hand pass to Betts, who puts the ball out in front with a sensational kick. And the mark is taken by Lucas, who is the leading possession winner on the ground. 23 disposals coming up. It's a hand pass. They go for the 9-pointer with Walker. He's come up short near the goal square. Hand pass comes to Murphy, who tried to dodge and weave, and it was beautifully played by Merritt, who dispossessed him. Brisbane have it. Hand pass comes back, Zorko, and they're out of trouble. Adcock kicks over half-back. Great contest, and the ball bounces out of play. Looked a certain Carlton goal, well played by Merritt.
Fantastic defence. Just all he did was get an arm in there, and now gets the ball out in the centre wing.
He finds a way, doesn't he? Lions by 14. Cruiser with a tap. Carazzo under the pack. He coughed it up straight to Rich. Now to Carnices. He gives it off to Polkinghorn, who was in the tackle of Lucas, but it went high. So Polkinghorn's free kick. He wants to get it on quickly to Hanley, who has a bounce to cross the wing. Delivers out into the pocket. Not a great ball. And it was easy work for Dygan to pick it off the top of Buick. Across the face of goal he goes to Henderson and Simpson, and now Yarran at the defensive 50. He can use Gibbs over the top out at half back. He'll have a look forward to the play. Walker's his man. Patfull's right with him. It bounces near the boundary, and together with the ball they all tumble over. Adam White.
Another sub for Brisbane with Cornelius out of the action with Beams into the play.
Boundary throw in. Carlton's half forward. Knocked down by Steph Martin. Trying to burst through Maloney. But his hand pass goes to the opposition. Carazzo, hand pass. Carazzo's kick towards the 50. And the mark taken by Adcock. Defensive half-back flank for the Brisbane Lions. They lead 81-67. There hasn't been a score for a little while. It's been a real arm wrestle. But great contested footy nevertheless. Up to a pack. Clears the pack. Centre wing. Dygan, a little toe poke kick. Did it go the distance for Murphy? The umpire said no, play on. Murphy decked. Carlton have it again. And a chance here for Maloney, who kicks down towards the forward pocket. And the mark just inside the boundary line taken by Casbolt. Now his ankles are just about in the gutter, up against the advertising. A few trainers clear a path for him. Could he kick this from 40 metres?
Out in the front.
Didn't get it back into play. Out it goes. Well, Carlton got the job in front of them. We're 27.5 played third quarter, and they trail by 14. The scoreboard hasn't moved for about, I reckon, 8 or 9 minutes.
And Golby's had a decent swing at Murphy, which took him off his feet. And I'd be surprised if Golby didn't accrue some points for that. Long kick out of defence. It was gathered by Lucas, though, off to Yarran. Blues back inside the 50. Ball lands in open space. Well tapped by Adcock. He got it away to Rockcliffe to Yo, and unfortunately he's booted it out of bounds on the full. So with the fatigue very much in play at the end of this quarter, that it's just come off a little bit. Yaron with the resulting free kick, as the Blues look to mount some pressure of their own. And he'll lob it into the forward pocket and challenge them to mark. Hampson climbed high in the pack, didn't mark. He does get the crumb. He wasted the hand pass though. Canisius, he kicks close to the boundary. Yaron against Buick. It's off hands and out of play.
I think this is what you're going to see when it comes to the interchanges. What's happening is just the ball's just keeping, when Brisbane had it in their forward half, they kept it in. Carlton got it in their forward half now. It's just to conserve energy.
Cruiser taps towards the boundary line, sharked by Rockcliffe, gets a hand pass away to Martin of the Lions. He goes for a short pass, which is a stray. Judd runs onto the bouncing ball and is dispossessed straight away. Now it's tapped for Arnfield.
We've got 4 back here, Brisbane.
A kick up deep inside the 50 for the Blues. Maguire defends the hand pass. Zorko plucks it off his bootlaces. Beautiful hand pass away. And they are off and running. McGrath works it up the ground to Hanley. It wasn't Hanley, it was the sub who's come on for Brisbane. It was Beams, and now they've got it to the forward pocket. Green couldn't keep it alive. Simpson gets a hand pass away. It's dangerous, and the pass, which went about 10 metres from Bootsma, has been chopped off by the opposition, and Bootsma's made a couple of clangers in this quarter. First cost him a goal, the second might cost him another one as Beams marks.
Spoke about Maloney in the pre-game. His willingness to work from the far side wing through the middle of the ground to be on the end of that ball and then deliver it inside 50. He's working really hard for Brisbane, and they seem to be actually running out this quarter a little bit better at this stage.
Beams 50 metres from goal and about 6 paces in from the boundary line. He's kicked it across the face of goal and through for a minor score. And that is the first score for a long, long time. The game has flatlined, but it's 82-67, a 15-point lead to Brisbane. 30 and a half minutes played third quarter.
Whitey.
We've got Rains into the action now for Brisbane. Carnisius out of the match. He's got the red vest on just before three-quarter time.
Simpson with a tidy kick for Lucas.
Carnisius might have run himself into the ground. He's their leading possession winner.
Lucas with a kick out of defence. His 26th disposal, but it's going to come back. Redden has hold of it. Hand pass out the back. And the siren beats the move from the Lions. Well, it has swung significantly throughout the night. And it sits at the final change. The Brisbane Lions by 15 points over Carlton. 12-10-82 the Lions to Carlton. 2 super goals, 7-7-67. So in that term, the Lions got a real wriggle on in that first 10 minutes and booted 5 goals, while Carlton was held to just 1. The goal kickers, Josh Green and Jonathan Brown, show the way for the Lions with 3 apiece. Singles to Rich, Zorko, Carnisius, Redden and Polkinghorn. Is that enough? 6. Zorko as well. And for Carlton, the super goals were to Gibbs and also to Tui. And then you can add in for regulations, Cruiser, Robinson, Rowe, Betts, Dygan, Casbolt and White. Three-quarter time in the pre-season grand final. It is the Lions by 15. The Lions by 15 drew the test.
Peter Siddle out for a duck. He took 14 balls to get it. Stark is 7. And Smith is 58. And Australia 7 for 260. Close to stumps day 2.
In the NRL tonight, the Brisbane Broncos beat St George Illawarra 22-6. In the A-League, it was a draw between Adelaide and Newcastle, 1 goal apiece. And in the Super Rugby, the Cheetahs beat the Waratahs 27-26. The Lions turn in front in the race for the pre-season trophy. Lindsay Gilby and Josh Fraser are our experts. Josh, what do you reckon?
Well, every time Brisbane have the momentum in their favour, it's largely due to their ability to get the ball on the outside and carry it. I think Drew made mention in that quarter. The running bounce stat would be an interesting one. I'd suggest that Brisbane would be far in front of Carlton at this stage. We just haven't seen a Yaron or a Murphy or someone like that tuck the ball under their arm and try and have a burst of speed and take the game on a little bit. Conversely, Brisbane have done that on several occasions. Green's done it a couple of times. Maloney's broken the game up a little bit. They just seem to be working a little bit harder, Brisbane. I'm not sure if it's a fatigue factor, but you'd think that Brisbane would probably have the disadvantage there. You'd think that Carlton would probably be a little bit fresher, but the way that last part of that third term looked, Brisbane looked like they're going to run the game out a little bit better.
Yeah, they were just more efficient going forward. Brown's been nothing but he's worked hard tonight. What I've really enjoyed is Stephen Martin. He mightn't be the most talented or gifted player out there, but what he does, his continual efforts, his second efforts, I think Rich had a shot at goal just from his second efforts, even though he missed the goal. What he will provide, you know what you get, and that's a contest. And if he can, at a minimum, provide that, that'll take pressure off Brown, and obviously he can pinch hit in the ruck, like you said earlier, because that will be one of the concerns for Brisbane going into round one. Billy Longer, their number one ruckman, has only played 5 games, so you've got to really rely on guys like Martin and hopefully Leuenberger when he's going up and going. So as we see, Martin looks like he's going to start in the centre of the ground here, so he's been a valuable contributor so far.
Yeah, I think that both sides are placed a little bit differently going into this last quarter. Brisbane have been under Boss for a few years now, and they know their game plan and the way they want to play, and I think they've got the hunger. Carlton are probably still trying to iron out a few kinks, so there's certainly a pre-season cup on the line, but you just wonder if they're ready to go ahead and win this game, or you think Brisbane, with the experience and under Boss, might just have the edge, and that hunger factor's certainly been there.
And looking towards round one, Carlton have got a tough first 5 rounds. They play all good teams, so they'll be looking obviously to finish this game well, because obviously next weekend's a mandatory day off. Weekend off for all clubs, so they'll be looking to really finish this quarter strongly.
The Lions were in their positions well before the Blues. Possession's pretty even. The Lions 258 to 249. The marks are Brisbane's way, 60 to 41. Free kick still Carlton's way, 24 to 13. What about hitouts? 46 to 24. And on his own, Cruz has had 33 for the Lions.
It's the Brisbane Lions starting the last term leading by 15 points. Scramble for the ball in the middle, settled by Maloney, but his hand pass was smothered. Judd got hold of it, he threw it forward. Betts, he works it onto Lucas. Carlton inside the 51st, bouncing ball, got over the top of all the forwards leading out. Merritt's the first man back, as he so often is, out of the last line. Hand pass to Adcock. He finds a target coming out, and it's Buick. Buick hits the ground running. He feeds it inboard to Beams. Beams can work his kick down the line. He didn't do it particularly well. Yaron was able to make a spoil on Zorko, but Zorko stays in the play. He broke through the front-on tackle of Simpson, but he lost possession in the efforts to do so. Yaron with a kick to the wing. Dygan gets his hand pass away as he was downed. Gibbs works it down the line. That was a sharp kick, and it's been marked by McLean. He has a look up forward for the Blues. Sets it inside the 50. Big leap by Walker. There were 2 against him. Yo is able to see it over the boundary. 40 out from the Carlton goal.
82 to 67. A 15-point lead to Brisbane. Michael Voss looking for his first silverware since becoming the Lions coach. From the boundary throw in, it comes to Judd. A beautiful hand pass to Murphy, who skirts around the pack and shoots for goal from wide out and hits the post. The far post. Terrific kick by Gibbs. Just had a little bit of a hook on it. The first score of this last quarter to the Blues. It's 82 to 68.
Golby's on the kick in. He worked it to himself and then out to Yo. He'll clear the defensive 50. It was a wonky looking kick, but it should be right. Martin's able to bring it down to Redden, who feeds it back to Martin. He kicks down the line. Out of bounds on the full. So a poor result, giving the ball up.
Same thing again, I give him a good wrap up and he kicks it straight out of bounds. I'm learning quickly.
Chris Yaron. A half back for the Blues. Short was the option for Carazzo. McLean trying to make the next link, but Carazzo's going to kick longer than that. He'll kick to a pack. Casbolt flies into it. Merritt came with him. Merritt got the fist on it. Yo at ground level. Paddled it to his own advantage. Redden. He was dragged off it. I'm not sure he ever had it. Carazzo to Judd to Gibbs. He kicks the Blues back inside the 50. They close from all angles. Martin had a good play at it, but he didn't take the mark. Rowe toils on. He's wrapped up by Adcock in a fierce tackle. The ball spills free. Martin releases it. Out to Hanley. Forward now to Redden. Hanley comes with him. He gets it back, steadies himself and kicks it to McGrath on the lead.
Ranger's down behind play. I'm not sure what happened. Don't know if we'll get a replay, but he doesn't look. He looks into all sorts here.
So the trainers surrounding Rains, who peels himself up off the turf. Ash McGrath has the shot for goal. This would be a decisive lead early in the final term if he can deliver it. From every bit of 50 metres, McGrath launches it at goal, but he's dragged it left. It's the Lions by 15.
He was brilliant there, Hanley, the Irishman. Couple of possessions in that move. Simpson kicks to himself and then clears the 50. To a contest. Punched forward by Maguire. Here come Brisbane again. Hanley has set up the last one. Centres the ball. McGrath, good pick up off his bootlaces. Turns and snaps and goals! Gee, that's skillful. They'll be hard to run down here, Brisbane. They lead by 21. 13-11-89 to 2 super goals, 7-8-68.
Harped on it all night, haven't we? Just getting the ball in the hands of the users. And even though it wasn't the greatest kicks of Hanley, he was good enough to lower his eyes and at least give McGrath the opportunity. And it was a great pick-up and an even better finish under the circumstances.
I guess the Carlton defenders too caught napping. The ball clears the defensive 50 and quick turnover and comes back inside, and they're sort of on their back heels and not manning up the Brisbane forwards. And a nice finish by McGrath. He's proven he can go forward and be a very valuable contributor.
He kicked 3 behinds up until that moment. He chimes in perfectly. And one more, and they just about have it. They're 21-point leaders. Judd out of the middle. His hand pass was no good. Hanley gets hold of it, puts it out in front of Stephen Martin, who gathers his kick from 9-point territory. He's pushed it across the face and hasn't made the distance regardless. Jamison back to take the mark for the Blues. He works it out through Simpson. Clear of the defensive 50 to Dygan. Judd down the line, makes the space. And Rains came with him. He launched himself across the front, got the fist on it, and punched it away out of play.
Gee, looked dead a couple of minutes ago. That was a great effort.
It's a symbolic bit of play, that, I think. Just where the game's at the moment. Yeah, Brisbane got that hunger. There's no doubt about it.
Throw in at half forward for the Blues. Bobbles around. Martin has it. Oh, give him the hand pass straight up. Carlton out of defence. Over centre wing. Off the ground by Maguire.
Great handball.
That is absolutely sensational. Patfull puts the ball out. Comes to Hanley again. Off the left or the right, he's usually pretty good. This kick down the middle. Finishes up with Rich, who steers the pass, and McGrath marks right in front. 45 metres from goal. Well, they're coming in waves here, Brisbane. And Hanley, the Irishman's up to 24 possessions. He leads all comers for the Lions. And Lucas is the leader for Carlton. Here's McGrath. He's kicked the final quarter goal already. Kicks from just outside the 50. But gave it a bit of a hook and kicks him behind. Whitey.
Drew, Chris Jardie's out of the game. He's got the red vest on. He's not injured, but coming up for only his first game of the pre-season. I think it's fair to say that was probably organised before the game started.
15 possessions.
Tui comes in with a torpedo into the middle. Stephen Martin actually had a play at that. He didn't get hold of it. Murphy was dragged off it. It's a ball to be won right in the centre of the ground, and Maguire does for the Lions. He kicks them back inside the 50. Hard to handle. Henderson came out. Works his hand past to Yaron. He gives a bit of ground to Dygan. All of it was under pressure, but it was well managed by the Blues. And the mark's taken by Lucas. 50 from the defensive goal. He'll set it around the outer wing. Maguire had a good play at the ball across the front. He brought it to ground. Hand pass to Patfull. He works it close to the boundary line for Polkinghorne. And measures his kick off well for Zorko. Inside the 50 again. It's a promising build-up, and Buick is clear. And 40 metres out. He can take this shot at goal.
They're not working hard enough back, Carlton. I don't know if they've had a big week on the track or whatever it might be. They should be the fresher of the two sides, but Brisbane are just smart. They're just lowering their eyes and giving themselves the best opportunity to score.
They're on the brink of dropping Carlton, and Rowan Buick has the chance with a raking 45-metre drop punt. And that is the biggest lead of the night. It's the Lions by 28 points early in the final term. 14-12-96 to Carlton. 2 super goals, 7-8-68. Adam White.
Jared, it means a lot to this team, Brisbane. You can just see down here I'm actually on the Brisbane bench, and the players then were high-fiving each other. Even the medical team were very excited with that one. So it means a lot to these young players. They feel this club is a little underrated down in Melbourne, and they've certainly made a big statement on the big stage.
Oh, no doubt about that. They played one final series in the last 8 years, and in the last 3 years they've finished 13th, 15th and 13th. So Brisbane Lions are announcing themselves to the competition right here. The bounce in the middle, longer up, over the top of Cruiser. He works it down to Rich. Here they come again. Kick by Rich inside the 50. Brown makes a contest and goes after it for a second effort. He's swamped. He's on his knees. The ball's still bobbling. It's going goalwards for Brisbane. Comes up to Martin. He works it to McGrath. Gets a little toe poke. It's in the goal square. Redden is there but can't get boot to ball. The Carlton defence gets back there in numbers. And what's happening here? The umpire will bounce it will throw it up inside the goal square. Got to get used to these throw-ups around the ground. Cruiser wins the hit out. Row by McGrath. He's caught by Dygan. Carried forward in the tackle. No whistle. Close to goal. Brisbane can't get it through. Zorko gets boot to ball somehow. Goes no distance. Still about 8 metres from goal. Another little kick and the ball just bobbles over the boundary line alongside the behind post, and we get a throw in. They are fierce here, the Lions.
Looks like attacking the try line, doesn't it? So many players in a cluster. At the throw in, Martin wins it down to the front. Yaron didn't take possession. He slapped it out wide. A Simpson's kick is a bobbler. It clears the defensive 50, but for how long will be the question. Maloney throws himself on it, and Yaron goes into him. Or did Maloney go into the legs of Yaron? Yeah. Okay, so that's the below-the-knee contact, which will now be penalised. So Yaron is up. He's looking for a target. He's gone for Robinson. The kick is too far, and it might turn over. It does. Beams breaks 2 tackles, goes to centre half forward, and he's got Zorko alone in the square, and the Lions are home as Zorko blasts in with the top deck of Docklands. And they blast 54 points clear. 15-12-102 to 2 super goals, 7-8-68.
It's work rate wins, as you spoke about before. Brisbane are working a lot harder. We spoke about that hunger at three-quarter time. Clearly that's been instilled in them by Michael Voss at his three-quarter time address, and they're just working harder than Carlton. They're working harder defensively, they're working harder offensively, and options are starting to open up for them. Their ball use has been terrific as well, and I think maybe that's highlighted by Carlton's drop-off in their work rate.
I don't wish any ill will on Mick Malthouse, but terrific credit to Michael Voss, who's dragged this team up from the bootlaces in the last season or so, from where they were. From the middle, Rains might have been taken high, no whistle on the play. Lions there in numbers, comes to Rich, hand pass to Rains, back he goes. Maloney inboard, Rich running past, giving options. Rockcliffe has time to steady and look, and Zorko marks at centre half forward inside the centre square. Goes back and kicks it as long as he can. Why not look for Brown? Here he comes, but his man Hanson gets hands to the ball, works to the front to Simpson, who kicks out of defence straight for the line. Is it deliberate? Yes, sirree, Bob. Free kick to Brisbane. Be taken by Rains or Hanley. It'll be Rains. Down towards half forward. In between wing and half forward. Brisbane 102, Carlton 68. The kick in the direction of Brown again. 2 of them up. Brown and Martin. It spills to Simpson. He loses it in the tackle. Bootsman a little hand pass. Up the line they come. The ball is still there. It bobbles. Comes to Rains again. His kick. Oh, what a pick up by Brown near the boundary line in the forward pocket. All the way to the goal line. And so nearly a goal. He missed it, but only just. It's kick 4. 4 goals, 1.
35 points is the lead. And it's not quite the halfway mark of the final term. Dygan into the back pocket. Simpson takes the mark.
Just a lack of movement for Carlton here. They need some options.
Simpson tries to take off, reach the defensive 50. His kick wasn't great. Hampson didn't make it any better. He couldn't gather, and Armfield walked for the boundary, and it'll be thrown in. Adam White.
Jared, just a bit of homework here. A couple more subs have taken place. Golby is out for Brisbane. Walker out for the Blues in the last 5 minutes.
Okay, in this pack, Rains got hold of it, but they all had hold of him. The umpire circles, and he says that Rains hasn't made any actual effort to dispose of the ball. And that's how that's going to be interpreted this year. Armfield grabs it away from Rains and takes off. He hairs round the wing, has a bounce and delivers long. It's not a bad kick. Merritt's got some work to do, and he always does it. He makes the spoil on Hampson. Underfoot, Rowe gets hold of it. He snaps it at goal. It's at the fat part of the ball, though, and it goes away from the target and out of bounds on the full.
I tell you what, if there's dream teams for points for Fist, he'd be the number one pick, I reckon.
Hanley with the free. 25 disposals. He goes short, and the mark taken by Yo. He clears the 50 to a contest. A bit of arm holding going on between the two ruckmen. Eventually Cruiser wins, gets the hand pass away. Simpson has it. Curnow ran into a dead end there. Hand pass comes back to Bootsma. When I saw him last year, he looked like a coat hanger, but it looks as though he's put on a little bit of weight, but he's still a bit of a string bean. Ball comes down Brisbane's way. Maloney, the hand pass across. Redden has time to steady. Pokes the ball up in the air a little bit. Beams in front, can't mark. Is the ball over the boundary line? No. Play on. Down the line he goes, over the wing, and taking the mark in defence is Toohey for the Blues. 103-68, Brisbane leading. 14 and a half played last quarter.
Square the kick off to McLean and now to Gibbs in the centre square defensive side of the middle. Gibbs out to the broadcast wing now. Joseph into the play as a substitute. His first disposal is too long for Cruiser. He might get a run at the back. Hanley goes with him, and Hanley edges Cruiser over the boundary.
Stumps in the cricket. 7 for 273 with Smith 58 and Stark 20.
Deep forward for the Blues on the throw in. Rowe got to the front. He won the tap. Maloney was there though for the Lions. He worked his hand pass around. Adcock got it from Doherty. And they come out here, the Lions, around the broadcast side to a pack that collapsed. Stephen Martin and Jamison. Jamison is lame and the left leg. Now we will hope that that's just cramp. He's upstanding the mark. Whitey. He's grabbing at it. The kick went down the line from Martin, and Jonathan Brown got up to mark it. He has it looked deep inside the 50 and sets it in the Polkinghorn direction. Yaron made the spoil. Murphy, the Blue skipper, gets hold of it. He runs to the defensive 50. He gave the hand pass. Lucas gets hold of it from Casbolt. It breaks down just about, hacked off the ground the way of Lucas. And he works it around now to Henderson, but it's aimless stuff from the Blues, who are coming undone here, and Adcock's able to gather at half-back.
Goes for the short pass to Tommy Rockcliffe, who marks at half-back flank. Further short pass. This is good stuff. Keeping's off. Maloney has marked just behind the wing. Another short pass to true centre wing, and Buick has taken the mark. A lot of these players have had some seasons under their belt and some coaching under Michael Voss and looking the goods. They've turned it over though. The hand pass comes to Carazzo, who kicks over the wing, comes to the front to Betts, who just hacks it away. There's no one there for Carlton. Hanley gets back for the Lions. Kicks across the face of goal and opens it up down the city side of the ground. Beams takes the mark. They'll peel off and find men all over the place down the city side. Maloney marks at halfback. Has a lazy bounce. Carazzo closes him down. Maloney's kick towards half forward. Might have been a push by McGrath, but he gets away with it. Then loses the ball. Regains it. Slings a hand pass. Beams. He kept on going. He was way back at half back. Here is at half forward. Tackled and over the line. Oh, he's holding it, says the umpire. By the time he got there, he was probably too tired to dispose of it.
Adam White.
Yeah, looks like Michael Jamieson is okay. He initially did definitely hold his left knee, but he's come off and he's just getting treatment to the back of his calves, which would mean cramp, not knee injury.
Simpson's coming across the face of goal for Rowe at full back. His kick wasn't great on the way up, but it does float its way into the arms of Tui, and he plays on, delivers long beyond the middle. Joseph has made the play for him. He gets it onto the right boot. Robinson is rushing towards goal. If the ball sits, he'll get it. He can have a little ping from the pocket. Oh, he didn't make good contact though. And like everything for the Blues in this final term, it misfired away across the face of goal and out of bounds on the full. It's the Lions by 35 points.
A lot of guys down. Matty Maguire's down with cramp. There's a lot of guys that are really tired. I think they're just looking forward to the siren, to be honest.
The official attendance has been put up, 24,884. Longer wins the hit out. Comes to Carazzo, who loses it. Rains. Back he goes. Pass comes in to Zorko. He's a beauty. Shows them the ball, takes it away from them. Further afield. And Maloney down the line to Beams. Substitute on late in the game. 103-68. The Blues have kicked just one behind in this last quarter in nearly 19 minutes of play. Kick towards half forward, slapped towards the boundary line by Carlton's defence, on that occasion led by Henderson, and the ball out of play about 60 metres from goal. 103-68. The game fluctuated in the first three quarters, but Brisbane have gone on with their third quarter effort here.
It has been that decisive move. Not much given in that pack though, as Joseph, freshly inserted into the action, gets into the business of tackling, and Redden was the man he was able to assail. Hampson tapped it out, but it was sharked by Rockcliffe. Hand pass wide to Rains, to Maloney, but he was pushed out of play by Carazzo. So this is at right half forward for Brisbane, with 6 minutes to play. Throw-in got away from the ruckman a little. You might give it to Longer. Rains was dispossessed. McLean took hold, and he did make an effort to get rid of it, to the umpire's satisfaction. It will be thrown up. 2 kicks out from the Brisbane goal still. Hampson gets up there. He wins the tap. Down to McLean. He pumps the ball out of the congestion. Up near half forward for the Blues. It's off hands initially. Casbolt tried to push his way clear, but the Lions were having none of that. Hanley was able to work it away out the back. The kick comes from Adcock, and it's marked by Green out on the broadcast wing. No intention of going further. He can just shoot it backwards, and Adcock and Hanley can dink it around.
Well, if you've got these blokes in your dream team when the season proper starts, this is just cream on the cake. They're just kicking it amongst themselves. Adcock and Hanley had about 3 or 4 possessions each then. And then Hanley a short pass to Rich. What a performance by Brisbane, having to travel so often during this pre-season. They warranted a game in Queensland, but they had to come back to Melbourne. It's been a great performance. And Zorko, what a player he is. To Longer, to Rains, hand pass back to Redden. His kick towards full forward. Brown marks on that ample chest, only 20 metres from goal. And Jonathan Brown, who's kicked 4, could finish with 5 for the grand final.
It's just a workmanlike performance from him. He, obviously, he's a guy that does have presence, which we've stated all night, but even though he is 30, 31 and might even be turning 32 this year, his value is just as good as ever. And as we can see tonight, last week he was really, really scratchy, but tonight, that just getting that one game under his belt's done him good.
The drop punt is again perfect right through the middle. By my reckoning, that's 5 goals won to Brown. And the Lions are 16-13, 109. Carlton, 2 super goals, 7-8, 68.
It's actually very worrying for Carlton, I think, because we spoke about it at three-quarter time. They'll be looking to finish the game well, and they've done the actually opposite here. And I think deep down, Mick Malthouse will be a bit disappointed the way they finished this with the run they've got coming into the first 5 rounds. It's a pretty disappointing finish on Carlton's behalf.
That's Brown coming to the bench. Plaudits of the fans. And he and Jed Adcock, who share the captaincy now with Michael Voss, will have hold of some silverware in about a quarter of an hour's time. And it's a thumping good win as well. Maloney gets it out of the middle, uses the hand pass to Zorko, and pumps it forward. He's probably gone for too much there, and the defence had that covered. And Jamison at fullback marks for the Blues. Out into the back pocket. Simpson takes the mark. Carazzo was his target. He was edged underneath it by Adcock. Doherty gets hold of it for the Lions. Hand pass to Redden. It's crunched into by Robinson. Maloney's trying to shuffle it forward. Lucas stood against that. And the Blues take hold. Lucas is giving a little ground and he needs some support. Curnow gets there to be that. He kicks up the line. Rowe goes up. He couldn't take the mark. Back at ground level, Yo for the Lions. Hand pass to Hanley. Measures off his kick to Rains in the outer wing.
How about Kane Lucas? Leading possession winner on the ground with 33. Get long odds about that, wouldn't you? Steph Martin has the ball inside the centre square for the Lions. Zest has gone out of the game. He goes for a little hand pass back. Yo kicks to half forward, beautifully delivered. The mark taken by Buick. There's some spaces opening up now. Buick advances the ball near the 50. Polkinghorne marks and kicks to the goal square. Green leaps at the back. Can't quite take the mark, but he might recover and kick a goal just the same. No, Carlton are able to get the ball out of there. Comes to Lucas. Sweeps the hand pass over to Curnow, who just kicks it any old where.
That's deliberate, sure.
That is out of bounds deliberately for sure. Well, the umpire's tired of blowing the whistle.
We're after consistency.
Yeah. Our interpretations might be a bit different.
That was dead simple.
Half forward for the Lions with a couple of minutes to play. Only by 41 points. Throw in clears the ruckman. Curnow with a hand pass to Cruiser. Never quite got to him. Yaron gets in there to keep it in dispute for a moment and did enough to earn a free kick with incorrect disposal. So Yaron flares it out across the centre square. And it's a ball that bounces a little awkwardly away from Henderson, but he gets hold of it now. Kicks up forward. Spoil made over the top by Maguire. He put that on Rowe. And Maguire's instrumental in seeing it out to half-back Buick. Just needed a runner going by. Hand passes forward to Rockcliffe now, who opens the play up to Zorko.
Geez, he fit Zorko.
He just outworked Murphy then. Murphy looked spinny, just ran harder than him.
Got a bit of cramp, which is perfectly understandable. Jonathan Brown checks back in. And Zorko kicks it backward and Buick marks, and he'll add to his stats.
Here are these defenders just building on their stats now.
Brisbane's still got loose players queuing up. Stop working, Carlton.
Zorko looked as though he was a certainty to go to the bench, but here he is getting another marking kick. Down the line in the direction of Rains. Zorko's close by. He's going to get another touch. Rains' hand pass back to him, but his kick is smothered by Yaron and goes out of play. He needs a big breather. Dane Zorko, a terrific performance.
Only kicked one goal in the second half, Carlton. Two Super Goals 6, now they're 2 Super Goals 7.
It was after a massive second quarter where they came from 12 points behind, 13 points in front. Rich comes to the boundary. Here's the throw in right below us. Martin wins the hit out for the Lions, a former Demon. Bobbles about a bit here until Maloney gets the hand pass to that man Zorko again. One-handed attempt by Martin, not enough. And Polkinghorne tries to keep the ball alive, but runs out of room. Brisbane 109, Carlton 68. Brisbane's first ever night premiership.
At the throw-in, Martin got his hand to it first. Cruiser, though, got some sort of kick away. It slews out near the boundary. Yaron's protecting the ball. Zorko's taking him down. Yaron pushed it out for Curnow. Curnow's down by Rains. Off to McLean. He's down by Rockcliffe. So the Lions are running this out strongly. Doherty back to Zorko. Swings it up to half forward. It'll come unstuck there, though, as Dygan. Here's the coverage. He goes short to Gibbs. Gibbs tries to sidestep his way around. The applause you can hear is for Michael Voss, who's headed down onto the boundary to share this with his players. Armfield received it in midfield and floats a high ball inside the 50. No mark for Hampson. Rockcliffe was met front on by Robinson. No whistle on the play. Robinson tackles Rockcliffe, who's over the ball. And the umpire's going to knock Rockcliffe off. Right on the siren. That delivers a reward for improvement for the Brisbane Lions. They have gone unbeaten through the pre-season competition, and despite being condemned to the road, they claim the prize. It's just a matter of the final margin. And Mitch Robinson will have the last kick-at goal of the night. It's the best part of 50 metres out. It stands at 41 points. He's hooked it. And so with the Brisbane Lions by 40 points at the end of the pre-season grand final. The Lions 16-13, 109. Thoroughly deserved winners over Carlton. 2 super goals, 7-9, 69. So they put the inconveniences to one side. They came from behind at half-time despite the rigours of travel multiple times. And quite rightly, they draw away with the prize.
I said before the game I wasn't really convinced about Brisbane. I can eat my words on this one. Obviously, it's still the pre-season and we've got the season to go, but geez, they were impressive tonight. I actually didn't realise how good they were until tonight. I saw them firsthand last week, and they were an extra 20-25% better than on last week's game against Collingwood. They were absolutely fantastic, and they're definitely the real deal, and they'll be hard to beat up in Brisbane, just going off their pre-season form.
I did think pre-match that you were judging them too harshly on what they did last year, because from last year to this year, it's been a massive leap. And they did it once before. They came from wooden spooners to finalists when Lee Matthews got there. This is a mob that can go a long way.
Yeah, I don't think you can underestimate the competitive nature of a footy club, and they've obviously got a very strong culture up there, probably built off the back of their early success in the 2000s. They're a proud footy club. They've got great history and tradition. They've got a coach who's one of the greatest of the game. They've got a core group of young players who we touched on before the game that are coming through together. And they just get an even spread of contributors. They don't rely on one or two. Shaw Brown's the superstar, and he has been for a long time, but I think gone are the days where they needed Jonathan Brown to kick his 6 or 7 goals for him to win. I think they're getting an even spread across the board, and I was super impressed with them tonight. Not only the fact the way they ran their game out, but the talk during the week of not having the game in Queensland. They put that to one side. It was business as usual, and I think they'll take a hell of a lot out of tonight.
Their second half, 9-8 to 1-3 after half-time. That is a pummeling.
Does that blow the wind out of Mick's sails?
Oh, definitely. Given their first 5, it's a fearsome start, and you wouldn't have any confidence.
I think they play Richmond, Collingwood, West Coast Eagles, and Geelong and Adelaide. In their first
West Coast will be in Perth.
And West Coast will be in Perth. So Mick would be worried deep down, and I'm pretty sure this is a bit of a reality check for the players. Even looking at their body language now on the ground, I know they might be tired, but I don't think they were expecting that tonight. I think this is a real kick in the backside for them.
And their pre-season form was inflated by the story and by the hype, but the way they ran out of puff in the second half, that was a little bit alarming.
Yeah, and Gerard mentioned they'd kick 1 goal in the second half. I think of more concern than Mick would be. They've had another 100 points plus kicked against them. We saw Adelaide do it to them as well. So that would be a pressing concern to him. How can he tighten up their defensive structures, because they're leaking goals at the moment. Mick knows, he's been around a long time. If they can get that part of their game right, they'll score. They've got no problem with scoring off the back of some solid defence, but from what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, they're just leaking too many goals, and I think that's a real concern for him heading into round 1.
I'm feeling really happy for a smiley face down there and amongst that Brisbane lot. Mark Harvey, whose backside must have been dragging on the ground when he left Fremantle. He went to Brisbane at the start of last season, and pretty quickly he's played a bit of a role, I reckon, in getting them from where they were to where they are.
And a big credit also to Michael Voss. I think he's been underestimated. A few years ago they went after Fev and they gave up a lot for him. Obviously we know how that worked out, but he just went down the youth path, and I think that's paying dividends. And I think this is a template for clubs to how to approach it in the future, instead of, there's nothing wrong with getting recycled players, as Maloney was good again tonight as he was last week, so he's still a valuable contributor. But I think this is a good template for clubs going forward, battling clubs that are down the bottom. The template is to develop your own and go into the draft.
The Lions led at quarter time by 12. They trailed at half time by 13. They led by 15 at three-quarter time, and they have emerged victorious by 40 points. 16-13, 109 to Carlton. 2 super goals, 7 goals, 9, 69. So they'll form up for the presentation out in the middle of the ground and the awarding of the Michael Tuck Medal for Best of Field.
Be presented by a plumber in a suit. And he never looked right when he got up a few years ago and he said, and the winner of the the Michael Tuck Medal.
Still a moment for the goal kickers. 5 for Brown, 3 for Green, 2 for Zorko, and 1 each for Buick, McGrath, Rich, Carnesis, Redden and Polkinghorn. While for the Blues, the super goals were from Gibbs and Tui, and the rest Cruiser, Robinson, Rowe, Betts, Dygan, Casbolt and White. Down to Craig Willis.
Making it through to the NAB Cup Grand Final. Tough night for the Blues. I'm going to invite their new captain, Mark Murphy, to come forward and say a few words.
I'd just like to thank NAB for their support of the competition. Thanks for everyone for coming out tonight. I'd just like to wish Jonathan Brown, Jed Adcock and Michael Voss all the best for the season, and congratulations tonight. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mark. Good luck to you and the Blues in the home and away season for 2013. I'd now like to invite former Hawthorn champion and AFL Games record holder Michael Tuck to present the medal named in his honour to a player adjudged best on ground. Michael, the recipient of the Michael Tuck Medal is?
The recipient of the medal is Daniel Rich.
Rich with 23 disposals, 11 contested. He had 9 clearances, 6 inside 50s, laid 3 tackles and kicked a goal.
Firstly, thanks to NAB for putting on a great competition. To the Blues, thanks for a great game. All the best for the year ahead. To all the supporters of the Lions that came out, it's massive for us to get you all down here. We love it. To our boys, it is only the pre-season, but we've worked hard over the pre-season and set some strong goals and strong habits, so looking forward to putting it into kind of practice in the real deal. So thanks again.
Congratulations, Daniel. NAB has been an outstanding sponsor and great supporter of the competition, which has seen matches played throughout the length and breadth of our great nation. Would you please welcome Mr. Rick Sawyers, NAB Group Executive, Wholesale Banking, to say a few words and present the 2013 NAB Cup.
Thank you, Craig. On behalf of National Australia Bank, I'd like to congratulate all the teams this year for a great NAB Cup. I'd certainly like to congratulate the teams that played here tonight and commiserate to Carlton, who had a great NAB Cup season. But it's my pleasure on behalf of NAB, our staff and our customers and communities all across Australia to present the NAB Cup to Jonathan Brown and Michael Voss and congratulate them for a great season and a great competition.
They're iconic figures at the Brisbane Lions, Voss and Brown, and they'll stand either side of some silverware and raise it as something to build on. It's a good reception from the Lions fans who are local here in Melbourne.
First of all, thanks to NAB for putting on the event. It's obviously a very critical preparation for us for round 1, so we appreciate your support. Once again, to our own major sponsors in Vero and National Storage, obviously they're very important to be able to have on board. To Carlton, always been really tough opponents. Obviously we're all looking forward to the season ahead, and this is just an important build-up to that, but I'm sure you guys will have a terrific season, so thank you. To our guys, well done guys. I guess it's a reward for a pre-season. The guys haven't put a foot wrong in the way they've prepared themselves and given themselves every chance to be able to, get into the season proper and give ourselves every chance. So that's terrific. To our members and fans, thank you for coming out. It's always a pleasure coming here. We do really feel like we have 2 supporter bases with our Brisbane home and also down here in Melbourne. So thank you once again. Cheers.
So that's Michael Voss, the victorious coach. The Tuck medal voting was Rich 7 votes, Zorko 5 and Hanley 4. and there was a vote for Gibbs and a vote for Brown. So this pre-season phase finishes with the Brisbane Lions players all gathering with the trophy in their midst. And now they can set their eyes on a couple of weeks' time as the streamers fill the air here at Docklands. A team that will look to build on this moment as the season unfolds. So that's it from us.
You've got Simon Black to come too.
Yes. The Lions by 40 points over Carlton. Grandstand tomorrow, there's so much. 3 Shield games, the Grand Prix, much test talk, and the wash-up from this as well. The Brisbane Lions, 16 goals, 13, 109. Defeat Carlton, 2 super goals, 7-9, 69. Lindsay and Josh will chat right throughout the season. And Grandstand AFL begins a proper on Friday night in Adelaide when the Crows host the Dons. Join us then. Good night.